What's going on, fellow A-plussers? It is I, your more phenomenal host, as always, Adam Perez, certainly coming through once again with a brand new episode of A-plus More Phenomenal, your weekly stop for your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, and Ultraman news and reviews, streaming live over on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, as well as Twitch for you gamers out there. If you're certainly watching our show over there as well. So thank you very much, guys, for definitely kicking your weekend off right, as we're going to be getting into a ton of Power Rangers and Tokusatsu news for you guys today. Right off the bat, we're going to dive into some Dino Fury Season 2, Episode 9 of The Hunt. So we're going to get into a review along with a live chat discussion with you guys in regards to your thoughts on this week's episode. We're also going to get into award season, if you will. Certainly has started for some television shows, as Dino Fury is, in fact, bringing home an award this year. We'll definitely go ahead and talk a little bit about that. We've got a hashtag I Love You Power Rangers story to certainly discuss, and of course some Tokusatsu information, whether that be in the realm of Ultraman Decker and even some Kamen Rider anime stuff for you guys today as well. So should be a fun and stacked episode, to certainly say the least. And then of course at the end of our episode, we certainly will get to your guys' live viewer questions. Now, as of right now, I think we're pushing like 33 emails right now. So if you haven't submitted a question over, I mean, goodness, with 33 emails, I have no idea who else wants to put in an email. But if you have not submitted your question over, feel free to certainly go ahead and do so. aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com. Again, that's aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com. One email per person. And at this point, I think we're getting to the maybe one question per person time period for sure, man. So let's go ahead and feel free to submit your questions over anytime during the week, and of course we'll get to them towards the end of today's episode. This has been a crazy week, to certainly say the least, in regards to at least rounding things off for us here at A Plus More Phenomenal. It is in fact Mother's Day weekend, so congratulations and happy holidays, if you will, to all the mothers that are certainly out there that are going to go ahead and get the opportunity to celebrate this week. My mom actually wind up coming in into town. I think it was what's today, Saturday, so Wednesday night, I believe. No, Wednesday night she came in. I think she wind up staying majority of the day at her friend's house once her friend picked her up. And she might actually, was it Thursday night? Actually, it might have been Thursday night. Regardless, my mom came into town. We had a fantastic first day that she was certainly here. But unfortunately for us, come Monday morning, she did go ahead and test herself and wound up finding that she unfortunately does have COVID right now. So she didn't have COVID on, I think she said she tested Tuesday and Wednesday. I don't think she tested Thursday, which is the day in which she traveled here, and then Friday morning she tested and unfortunately came back positive with COVID, even though she's got all her shots and boosters and things like that as well. So I think it kind of come across as like a congestion right now for her. She thought she maybe had like a sinus infection. So that's what she's struggling with right now. No fever or anything like that, so she's fine. But we find ourselves pretty much quarantining in the house for the entirety of the weekend. So any Mother Day plans that we certainly had, unfortunately, are very much kaput, as we can't really go anywhere for the next 5 or 6 days, as we just kind of keep ourselves quarantined and then tested. Me and the girlfriend haven't tested yet. I think we're going to go ahead and test today, since we have interacted with my mom the first night that she was certainly here. Not so much the morning when she actually discovered she wound up having COVID, though. So we'll see what happens, guys. Keep our fingers crossed. I think our biggest concern right now is just little man, trying to keep him separated and doing our best that when we do have to have interactions with my mom in regards to giving her food, whatever else that she certainly might need, definitely wearing our masks anytime that we go into the room. So just keeping her in our prayers, that everything she seems like she's going to be okay. I mean, she's got a cough, some congestion in her head, a headache, but other than that, no fever, nothing life-threatening. So she should certainly push through. It's really going to be the next couple of days to kind of see how the quarantining goes, and then if whether or not the rest of us wind up coming down with it. So we'll see, guys, and we'll definitely go ahead and keep you posted. So because it is Mother's Day this weekend, as of tomorrow, I don't believe we're going to have an episode of A Plus hero report. But since shit, I got no place else to go, I decided why not do an episode of A Plus More Phenomenal this weekend, even though my mom is certainly in town, guys. So we're definitely going to be having a fantastic day here with you guys, our subscribers, our viewers. Definitely thank you very much, guys, for certainly coming through each and every weekend for us. And listen, especially if you're in the live chat, if you like to watch us live or just kind of come by and then leave, whatever the case may be, do me a big favor, hit that like button, man. That like button really does go certainly a long way, and definitely let your thoughts be known in the live chat or even the comment section box below after this video airs. So yeah, just want to go ahead and keep you guys up to date in everything that's certainly going on around here. This is episode 9, right? So I think we got maybe 2 more episodes of A Plus More Phenomenal for us to certainly go before we wrap up our Dino Fury reviews. And then really the only content that will be left on this channel will actually be our Don Brothers stuff that'll keep dropping on a weekly basis until that season is done. It is really heartbreaking, man. It is to kind of see this channel go away, especially when it feels very much on like a momentum swing all of a sudden. Like, this channel has definitely been boosted with subscribers as of late. I think we're almost up to 1,120 subscribers. I feel like we just literally broke 1K a couple of months back. So it's nice to see the channel growing with the unfortunate demise of the channel. I don't want to say demise of the channel, but you know, it clearly moving on and evolving into something else. Like, our Don Brother reviews are doing ridiculous numbers right now compared to Zenkaiger. Like, for me, it feels very much like either people are enjoying our reviews now, or it's just a breath of fresh air after Zenkaiger, and everybody's so excited for Don Brothers and to get any sort of bit of information that they can in regards to it. You know what I mean? So it's been interesting seeing a lot of our numbers continuing to climb, despite the idea of us transitioning from A Plus More Phenomenal to Hero Report. Trust me when I say it's a very hard pill to swallow in order to not create content for this channel any longer. But honestly, it is something that I definitely need to do for myself. And I feel like, especially the past couple of weeks, with me having to work in the office a couple days out of the month, the juggling of being a father to, you know, a new father and things like that. Yeah, man, I continue to see each and every day like why I need the time for myself and my family. So yeah, very hard pill to swallow, to certainly say the least. But yeah, we'll be okay. We'll certainly be okay. But I do want to go ahead and give some shout out and some love to people that are certainly here in the live chat, or at least have certainly come and gone. But I definitely want to go ahead and give you guys some shout outs here. We got Francois certainly in the house. Michael Rhymes is certainly coming through today. Good old Jackson Peterson. Listen, I'm going to say this real quick right now. I would love if you guys stuck around, because I feel like I go through all of these. I have like 20, 40 people that I'm saying hello to. But then when I do look on the live chat, it's like 9 people joining us. You know what I mean? So if you guys are certainly going to stop by, it would be great if you guys certainly stuck around as well. Feels like people kind of come and go. You know what I'm saying? But Jackson Peterson's in the house today. We got Ibase in here. Good old Chris certainly in the house also. Good old Mother's Day weekend. I suck my own balls is in the house. Good to see you, buddy. We got Roberto in the house. Hola, amigos and amigas. We got Mackenzie certainly coming through. Jericho in here as well. Good old John channeling the power of the Triceratops here this week. Good to see you, John. Who else we got? We got Carlo in the house with us today. Kurt certainly coming through. Is it me or is it finally Saturday? Finally Saturday, bro. This was a long ass week to certainly say the least. I think on Thursday, my friend Arlen was like, or was it Wednesday? Oh, it was Wednesday, and he thought it was Thursday, and I had to break the news to him that it was Wednesday, and I think I crushed his dreams of letting him know that this week was going by so slow. We got Gabriel in here. Thank you very much, man. Good old Nicole Robertson. It's always fantastic to see you in here, Nicole. We got Adam Perea. What time is it? It's Dino Night time. No, yeah, well, technically it is Dino Night time. We'll definitely get into it for sure. Good old Carter in the house. Ram Jam certainly gracing us with his presence. We got Harka in here as well. Good old Frankie. Good to see you, buddy. Who else we got? Blossom, L'Oreal. What's up, bro? Says, you don't mind me saying that, do you? I mean, you're my friend. Yes, of course, L'Oreal. You can call me bro. I don't mind that at all. Enrique. What's up, Enrique? Thank you very much. Tarek, the Mofo Knight. Oh, this is definitely AJ then. Dino Knights, fight for your rights. AJ, you're the only one that says that outside of me. So Tarek, the Mofo Knight. All right. We got Jack Daniels starting your weekend off right with some Jack, as always. JB says, what? Is in the house too. Jordan's in here. Thank you very much, Jordan. Doomsday has graced us this weekend. Who else we got? Daniel's in the house saying, what's up, Adam? Datilla's in here, certainly coming through. Video DVD. Man, I used to have a great collection of DVDs. And you know what happened, Video? One day I became way too bougie and I said, I only want to watch Blu-rays now. I'm going to go ahead and replace all these movies in Blu-rays. And I chucked all my DVDs. And you know what happened? I didn't end up replacing them. Yeah, I'm a dumbass. Who else we got? I think that's everybody. Oh, wait, Byron's in the house. Thank you very much. He says, I gave this episode a 3.5 to a 4 out of 5. Who else we got? And I think that's it right now. Adam says, you're not my friend, you're my twin. I still need evidence, man. I need receipts. I need to know if we look alike, Adam. All right, guys. In regards to Byron's question, in regards to a 3.5 to a 4 out of 5, I might land in a 4 to 4.5 out of 5 for this particular week's episode, as we dive immediately into our Dino Fury review for season 2, episode 9, titled The Hunt. And can I say, holy crap, what a fantastic episode this was on so many levels. I mean, I got goosebumps. My emotional heartstrings were certainly pulled in here. Bert Selling's composition and music just rose the emotions from the depths within me, if you will, to really make this episode certainly stand out. I mean, the villain itself in Snag Eye, loved his design, even loved it way back in the day for Real Soldier as well. It carries over to here fantastically well, especially even in the original footage fight sequence that we get to see in here. Even his visuals of when he captures people, stunning stuff. I really did love the design here of Snag Eye. But yeah, Bert Selling was on his game today. Some great music to help accompany the great emotion from this week's episode. Seeing Zato, or I should say Russell Curry as Zato, really put his best foot forward in regards to his distrust within Void Knight. Was really poignant. Poignant. Fuck it. It was palpable. Let's just say that. Like, you could really feel it in the air all episode long. And it was just a lot of intensity in this episode. Really worked for me. And I was a really big fan, man. Some really great, big, impactful moments in here. And it does make me wonder how the remainder of this first half is going to go now that I only have 2 episodes left before we get to the end of the first part, I should say, of season 2. So great stuff overall, if you ask me. But let's go ahead and really dive into the nitty gritty here. I'm assuming, if anything, Snag Eye is the creature in which Void Queen, along with Wreckmate, were talking about their secret weapon, or they were trying to put together from the previous episode. Because Homeboy flipped the switch and he wind up actually pumping some power into Snag Eye. Now, I am fascinated because Snag Eye in here is technically a robot, but there is a part of me in Real Soldier, I believe Snag Eye was an actual person in disguise, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a previous master from Real Soldier. I just can't remember if this was the encounter that they had in Real Soldier, or if he winds up popping up. Because, you know, in this episode, they take off the mask and you can see the alien creature underneath. And there was a part of me that was like, I thought that was a mask all along too. So I can't remember if Snag Eye maybe pops up again in Real Soldier, or maybe even here in Dino Fury. I'm not quite sure, but regardless, I was always a really big fan of the character, and I thought it worked extremely well here in this episode. And we see Void Knight clearly on the run, learning about Snag Eye. The idea for Void Knight being back in Area 62 is that Zato, in regards to proving that Void Knight has certainly changed his colors and his ways, can certainly be trusted. His plan was to go ahead and capture the Sporex beasts from Area 62 and bring them back to our Rangers in here. But unfortunately for Void Knight, that's a no-go, especially when you've got all those henchmen, all the villains in one base. He does get found out, but not before he finds out about Snag Eye. So he takes this opportunity to go ahead and do his best to go ahead and at least warn the Rangers. And this is really where the animosity kind of begins even further between Void Knight and our Rangers here, especially when it comes to Zato. I kind of dug the idea that Void Knight called the hotline though to let them know, like, hey, I've got a bit of information for you guys. Meet me over at the warehouse. So not your average sort of Sporex call. So the idea of our Rangers kind of walking into a warehouse randomly, I kind of really enjoyed the vibe of that, of just seeing what they were certainly walking into. And Void Knight certainly does his best in here, right? To really plead to the Rangers, let him know about what his backstory certainly was to lead up to this point. But there's definitely a lot of information and details that have definitely been omitted. I mean, he really pretty much just lets the Rangers know from the point of view of a viewer things that we've seen and how it's worked itself out. Again, the flashbacks that I personally want to see is before we even came into the Dino Fury story. How did you acquire the armor, right? What happened to both you and Santora to lead to the point of her being badly injured and needing to be healed? It feels like a story for another day. And with Void Knight seemingly walking away from this episode, still alive for now, we'll see. I have no idea. I am interested to kind of see if he goes back further and explains further how he wind up coming into possession of everything in here. There is a part of me when it comes to Zato that makes me wonder, before he gets to the point of trusting in him, it feels very much like Zato, I don't want to say it was personal to him, but it almost felt like he was harboring more than what he's letting the Rangers know of, right? I still wonder if he's familiar with the armor, because in episode 1, the very first episode, he says, "Where did you get that armor from?" There is maybe a personal connection to that armor. Maybe he knew the person that had it, and maybe there was a personal beef between the two. I'm not quite sure. That's just me speculating at this point. It could just simply be the idea of what Zato says in here, right? Like, all this entire time, you've never proven to us whatsoever that you should certainly be trusted, based off of all the harm that you've caused, the destruction that you've caused, all in an attempt to kind of save one person. It's really hard for me to kind of believe you. So I get that. I can definitely understand Zato's point of view, but I do like sort of the pushback that the rest of the Rangers give to him, their open-mindedness to listen. And I think that's one of the things that we mentioned quite some time is, if Void Knight from the beginning, right, had just let the Rangers know what he was trying to accomplish, I really do think that the Rangers would have stopped attacking, maybe took a step back and tried to find some way to help him along the way, right? And so that's exactly what we're finding out here when it comes to the Rangers. Now that they're realizing Void Queen is my wife, she got hurt, I tried to save her life, right? Ollie coming in like, oh, you needed the Sporks for the energy to save her, sort of thing, right? They are clearly seeing his intentions, despite the fact of Void Knight really going about it the wrong way. So I really do like seeing that outside perspective of the Rangers being more open-minded to at least listen, and yet there be one person in the group, the leader of all people, really wanting to take baby steps in regards to fully trusting him and believing anything that he certainly says. I mean, from the ambushes that certainly take place in here, right? I just like the way of how this episode was handled, in the sense of Could you trust Void Knight? Should you not trust Void Knight? Well, like you could see things from Zato's point of view also, especially when it's just Zato and Javi having to save the rest of the team, and they show up at the warehouse and Snag Eye winds up popping in. It looks like an ambush, right? So I definitely see where Zato was certainly coming from. But again, I love the pushback of the Rangers to really help Zato see things a lot more clearly. And it's really one of those things where Zato needs to see for himself, right? The idea of being trapped inside, which, mind you, a side note here, just quick honorable mention. I did love the set design for the inside of Snag Eye. Just some of the fog, the lighting that they wind up really putting in there, the echo and stuff. It really kind of helped make the area they're in feel a lot bigger than it certainly was. And so I just really enjoy the design, to certainly say the least. But I thought it was cool that we got Zato touching the walls, being able to see through the perspective, if you will, of Snag Eye, to see what's happening on the outside, to see that Javi and Void Knight are certainly working together. And it was a really great momentum shift for Zato from that particular moment on. So I thought Russell Curry really did his damnedest in this episode. And trust me when I say he wasn't finished when it comes to this episode, just based off of him in the Void Knight situation that we found. I do also want to give a quick shout out to Javi in here for having a fantastic episode. Also, him being the one to kind of try and talk some sense into Zato. The idea that all these episodes that we've seen from Dino Fury really have meant something and amounted to something for the character growth and how these characters have changed all over time. Because I do love that Javi uses those moments sort of as examples, right? Like, look at my dad. You know, you believe that people can't change that easily, but look at my father. He's my biggest fan now in regards to my music. The pointing out of Ollie and Emilio working together in the beginning of the season, we never thought that that would certainly happen. So we definitely have perfect examples this season that people certainly can change and have a different mindset certainly going forward. And maybe, who knows, maybe this message was sent to me also, in the sense of how I felt about Void Knight in regards to the previous episode, right? Because I kind of gave Void Knight a little bit of crap in regards to how he handled the situation, about all of a sudden now having feelings for these humans and feeling some type of way of seeing them in danger. You know, clearly characters certainly can change. We've seen that firsthand. Maybe that is certainly an aspect of Void Knight's personality, that especially after the tide has been changed and turned on him, he has a completely different perspective as to his actions leading up until that point. So I thought it was a really great message, one that Zato needed to hear, and maybe even me as a viewer from the outside looking in when it comes to Void Knight needed to hear also. So I really appreciated Javi's push, and also the solo morph from Javi. I'm so used to the idea of like the Garcia family more, for him and, you know, Izzy always being together, if you will. So to be able to see them not necessarily tag teamed and together, and Javi really thrusted into battle by himself, I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. I gotta close my window real quick. The next door neighbor is working on building a fence, and it's just, I just hear pitchforks clink, 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 clink. You guys might be able to hear it too. I'm not quite sure, but I'm gonna close my window real quick. I know, I know. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I had the window open specifically for my cat, which, mind you, I don't know if I informed you guys, but our cat came back, or at least Cindy found our cat and brought her back home. So she likes to sit on the windowsill. So I opened the window for her, but now my um, neighbors are certainly working, so I had to close the door. So if you hear some meowing, I do apologize in regards to that. But let's go ahead and get back into the Void Knight stuff here. As we which I also want to say, I also love the sequence in here when it winds up ending being Void Knight facing off against Snag Eye by himself. I mean, the fact that our Rangers wind up all getting captured in here, I think was a very powerful statement in regards to the ability of what Snag Eye is, but also getting the opportunity to see Void Knight standing up, right? Like, it is one of those things too of, this is time to prove your worth, Void Knight, right? When the Rangers are down, are you going to pack up your bags and just bail and leave because the situation has gotten too tough? And the fact that Homeboy stuck around, knowing that not only Void Queen but Snag Eye needs to be defeated, I think really goes to showcase his level of determination for sure. And honestly, he had one of the greatest lines in this episode for sure. And there was some great dialogue in here, honestly. But he says, "It's Knight takes robot." And that's checkmate for you before he powers up and hits that last sort of final shot to go ahead and, at least help one of the Rangers get out. So to see him put up a fight in order just to kind of get Snag Eye, off guard and catch him with like one powerful hit to give the Rangers a chance, I certainly think says everything. And the final meeting here between Snag Eye, or not Snag Eye, but Void Knight and Zato really went a long way in coming to find the Dino Knight Morpher, which I believe Void Knight explains is what he used to go ahead and create his armor out of it. So he's got the Dino Knight Morpher now, along with the key, and he winds up handing it over to Zato in just a boss level sort of moment, if you will. Like, I've never seen the Red Ranger in such incredible light before. I remember watching this moment in Real Soldier, and it had the same effect on me, considering just how fun-loving and happy the character Ko certainly was, like, all season long. To kind of see that level of determination, the pain of losing somebody very close to you sort of thing, and really wanting to avenge this person. Zato, I thought, was able to really bring that in regards to adapting it here for Dino Fury. That same sort of look, Zato definitely brought it, and just the dialogue, seeing him morph before the explosion hits, and as the flames clear, you literally just see him standing there. Granted, that I feel like this is all Real Soldier footage, but it still is incredibly impactful when you watch it here in Dino Fury. I mean, from him taking that blast, from the great poses to the great morphing sequence, to even him just standing there while Snag Eye came literally out of nowhere and just hitting him with his sword, having like no effect. It was just such a Superman sort of level moment for Zato in there, with that Dino Knight armor that just looks incredible. And shout out to the editing for, I think, completely removing Tyra Migo out of this scene. I believe Tyra Migo was in this scene in Real Soldier, but I could be wrong, to certainly say the least. But it was a great scene, great fight sequence. I thought all the fight sequences in here were really great. This was very Super Sentai footage heavy. I think the Snag Eye battle in the alleyway was definitely much more original footage, which really worked for me. But I thought Tarek really brought it in this episode for sure, as he not only hands over the powers to Zato, but unfortunately gets captured very quickly by Void Queen at the very end. It shocked me. It definitely surprised me. I was not expecting her to pop up out of nowhere and capture him the way that she did, and it definitely shocked him too. And so now we've got our really find ourselves Void Knight in a very unfortunate predicament here, where he's now got to hopefully try and survive Void Queen, who certainly seems to be out to destroy him, to certainly say the least. But great stuff in here, man. From Zato's reluctance to the eye-opening moments of him understanding Void Knight's truth, to becoming the leader that he needs to be in regards to now having the Dino Knight armor to himself. And now the rest of the Rangers feel very much like they owe Void Knight one, and now are simply trying to go ahead and certainly save his life. So I am really fascinated with 2 episodes left. How much of a cliffhanger is this show going to leave me on? How emotional these last 2 episodes certainly going to be? I certainly cannot wait to definitely find out. Let me see here. I'm trying to see what else I have here in my notes. And last but not least, I definitely have to talk a little bit about Ollie and Amelia, as we had a bit of a close encounters of the strange kind, if you will, with a possible real life ghost taking place in here, as we get some footage. I believe it's Jane and Jay Borg that believe that they've seen a ghost that's captured a man. They wind up bringing him back to show the rest of our crew here at Buzz Blast And of course, Amelia's on top of it. She's on top of it, wanting to go ahead and have this as a part of her next Mystery Buzz episode. I love Jane's commitment now to believing in the supernatural and wanting to bring the idea of ghost real to the public and everybody. So I love the little line from Jane in here where she's like, listen, I don't care how long it takes. You find me the proof. Oh, by the way, I need it by 2:30. So really not as long as it takes. Like there's literally a deadline on it. But again, I thought the dialogue in here was really spot on, from really pulling at the emotions to great humor as well. It really worked out for me. But, we're continuing to see the growth of Ollie in here. I love the idea of seeing the fact that the lessons that the characters are learning is something that's definitely carrying on with them. Not the sense of, hey, I learned a lesson, and 2 episodes later, we're treating people like shit. You know what I mean? Ollie very much is committed to working with Amelia and being very much open-minded. It feels very night and day, to the point to where even Amelia calls it out, like, the Ollie, that I met back at Dino Henge, the very first time, wouldn't even be open to this idea. But it's a perfect combination, if you ask me. It's peanut butter and jelly, man. The idea that you've got somebody that's such a believer and somebody that's such a skeptic, the idea of really bringing them two in together to be a great investigative team. Listen, guys, I watch Ghost Hunters all the time. The Taps team, you got to have a little bit of skepticism there. You know what I mean? You can love the supernatural and really believe in ghosts, but you got to try and at least prove the idea that this isn't something scientific or that somebody invented it, right? You really got to eliminate sort of everything from it. And to have somebody that is skeptical, that is sort of on that scientific side, like Ollie, I think is a great addition for Amelia in regards to it. So listen, man, we always see like epilogue stuff. What happens to our Rangers, maybe, after the very last episode? Maybe we'll get like a quick couple of clips, or at the end of the episode and things like that, of where our Rangers have gone. So for me, I would love to see Ollie and Amelia become a paranormal investigative team. Like, I want that to be their end result. Whether or not they end up being in a relationship, also, I kind of want to see them both going on ghost hunts together. I think it would really, really work out for the both of them. But look, they continue to smirk at each other, those lingering eyes when they talk with one another. The fact that Ollie and Amelia are being more open and more friendly towards each other in that regards. I really like the combination, guys. What can I tell you? I really like the combination. I've been shipping them from day one, from the very first couple of episodes, even though it's been reluctantly pushed back against me. I think maybe some people are kind of coming along or coming around to it, and it's something that I really hope happens by the end of this season. But we'll see what happens, man. But overall, I thought this was a great episode. 4 to 4.5 out of 5, easy. I definitely will give this episode an A for sure. But listen, guys, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions. I always want to know yours, though. What did you guys think of season 2, episode number 9, The Hunt? Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below. And if there's anything that I missed, character moments, storyline details, definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts, and we'll definitely go ahead and continue to discuss this topic. So let's go ahead and dive in, guys, and see what you guys are certainly saying today. And of course, if we have any stragglers that wind up making their presence felt, definitely go ahead and welcome them into the family. Let's see here, and I'm going to go back and see what else we've got left here. Blossom says, I will miss reviews here, but I totally, absolutely understand, dude. And don't worry, over an A+ Hero Report, we probably will be having reviews over there as well. I'm still debating whether or not, when it comes to part 2 of Dino Fury, if I still want to do them episode wise, or if I'm just going to do it as a season 2 part 2 review in total. But we definitely will still be doing reviews for Power Rangers over there. Just unfortunately won't be under the A+ More Phenomenal banner. Let's see here. Nicole comes through. She says, I absolutely love this episode. It was amazing. Zeta was incredible. Void Knight finally on our side. Yeah, everything that I was, the momentum was really building towards this particular episode, and they pulled it off incredibly well to the point to where now that we've gotten this one, man, I'm really hoping that this momentum continues for the last two episodes of this second half. Blossom says that episode is totally epic to the Maximo. Yeah, I definitely agree. Good old Doomsday says I absolutely love this episode also. Jordan says the score rising, the more aggressive Zato got towards Void Knight was amazing. Absolutely. I'm telling you, Bert Selling was in his bag today. Anytime we got the opportunity to see Zato heated, I mean, even when he confronts Void Knight, is like all up in his face, like, how can we trust you after everything? Like, I was like, oh shit, Zato. I didn't know you had that in you, Russell. Okay. But I love him, man. I tell you, I really do love Russell Curry as Zato. I truly do. He's continuing to really win me over. I've really enjoyed him as the Red Ranger and as a leader so far. And if he keeps this up, he probably will be easily top 10 Red Rangers for me. There's just so many Red Rangers out there. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about this on the Putty Hour, I think, with Matt and damn it, I think it was Nick. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. But I think they were talking about like if there was any Rangers this season that have kind of broken your top 10 favorites, right? And the one thing that I said was for me, Izzy, the Green Ranger, is definitely in my top 10 right now. Amelia's probably pretty close, if not in there already, just because of the fact that I feel like when it comes to Pink Rangers, there are a lot of Pink Rangers I'm a big fan of, but she probably might have made the cut. Maybe not necessarily my top 5, but definitely like in between that 6 to 10 range. Zato, while I'm a big fan of Zato and I continue to love him more and more, man, I mean, how many freaking fantastic Red Rangers have we had? But he's definitely up there, man. I love Russell Curry. He's doing such a damn good job, honestly. Tarek says, just my plus opinion, but Zato's rivalry with Void Knight very, very much reminds me of Connor and Trent and Dino Thunder. Connor trusting Trent cause of what they did to him when he was evil. That's definitely a good comparison, Tarek. That's a really great comparison, AJ. What's up, Elliot? Good to see you in here. Thank you very much for certainly coming through. Kurt says, I really like Snag Eye being a robot instead of one of the masters from Real Soldier, and Dino Fury, Zato, and Ion are our masters, but would be cool if past Rafcon Knights were Snag Eye in suit. That would be actually pretty cool. And that's one of the things I was wondering, because I was like, when I watched Real Soldier, I swore the Snag Eye character was somebody else, like under that mask. I just cannot remember, were there two versions of him? I can't remember if there's another version of Snag Eye that's about to pop up here also. I'll have to remember. Oh, quick side honorable mention. I'm glad you brought up Snag Eye. That battle in the warehouse, we got the opportunity to see the little armored guys again. I used to hate those little armored guys every time the Real Soldiers would henshin. I was not the biggest fan of it, but I actually kind of chuckled seeing them pop up in this episode. I'm trying to remember if they've popped up in anything else. If they've popped up in any other episodes this season. Byron says, I felt so bad for Tarek in this episode. My only nitpick is when he got captured at the end. The Rangers looked way too calm. You wouldn't be freaked out if you saw Void Queen. Come on now. I don't know, man. I don't think that they looked calm at all. Once that happens, Ollie immediately, who's in the back, literally comes to the front of the group like, oh, was that Void Queen? Like, you look at it, even the camera angle, I think, kind of turns a little sideways as it, goes into the crew themselves. They looked a little bit stunned, and Ollie certainly looks surprised and maybe even a little bit shaken at their first reveal at Void Queen. But however you certainly took that scene, Byron, whatever certainly works for you. Like you mentioned, still an enjoyable episode, so I'm really glad that you enjoyed it, man. Blossom says, I like how Ollie supported Amelia for finding a ghost. Yeah, it was a breath of fresh air, man. We're not used to seeing that, right? Good old Sarav certainly coming through. What's up, Sarav? Edward Sanchez Productions in the house saying the Dino Knight armor is coolio. Coolio. Absolutely, man. I love the design. I really do. I was kind of hoping for more original footage. I was kind of bummed that they didn't add more original footage. I think the only original footage was when he's demorphing. You get to see it briefly before he changes back into Zato. But listen, when you've got real soldier footage from Super Sentai that looks that damn good, yeah, you keep that. You keep that in there for sure. But it is a fantastic armor. It truly is. I hope we get to see other people get to rock it. I'm so used to Zato, or I'm so used to the Red Ranger really being the only person that handled it in Real Soldier. We have seen them take liberties in Dino Fury to have other people rock different power ups and things like that. While I look very much at the Dino Knight armor as a battleizer mode for Zato, it would be pretty cool if other people got the opportunity to wear that also or utilize it. So we'll see. So Gabriel says, I don't know if this might take place later in the second half, but it would be wild if Centaura was actually a past Ravcon Ranger, but lost her memories and Tarek had no idea. That would be pretty wild. Can't lie. That would be wild. Jericho says, I love the line when Izzy says she's never been inside of a robot before. Ali replying with, you've been in a Zord twice a week. Izzy says, not the same thing, dude. I love dialogue like this. Yeah, the dialogue was on point this week. It definitely was on point. Definitely not cringy at all. Who else we got? Johnny in the house. Thank you very much, Johnny. Appreciate you coming through. Blossom says, Javi was amazing in that episode. Plus, he was hot as ever. I love that he reminded Zato that people can change when you give them a chance. Absolutely. Even convinced me a little bit to maybe be a little bit lighter and a little bit more lenient on Void Knight in regards to some of his past actions. Let's see here. Francois says, I love that Dino Knight Morpher. Love the little explanation of how Tarek had it for his armor. Awesome way to showcase the battleizer. I thought so too. I really did think so also. Again, I feel like there's a lot more story to certainly be told. So I'm hoping that more of that story is told here this in the next 2 episodes. Byron says, when Izzy says, wait, you have a wife? That shocked me. I think she knows that Tarek is going through what Tarek is going through as of late. Yeah, and that's one of the things, right? It's like, had Void Knight explained and expressed why he needed the Sporix beast or the Sporix energy in the first place, our Rangers definitely would have responded to him significantly different if they knew what his plans were all along. Granted, as a villain, you don't want to give up your plans. I certainly get that. But I do like the idea that that's something we've speculated all season long. And when the Rangers do find out, they act appropriately, as Rangers should, in the sense of, wow, maybe we should take a step back, re-examine the situation, and see if we should help this person out, sort of thing, right? So I love it, man. I love it. Michael Adam is tall as F. Yeah, I'm about 5'11 and a half. I like to round up to 6 feet, though. It helps my confidence, We got Robert in the house. What's up, Robert? Thank you for coming through. Blossom says, Knight takes robot. I get that. I used to play chess. Yeah, I was part of my chess club back in like 6th grade. I do love chess though, but I thought the dialogue was great. I love that line from Tarek. Doomsday says the introduction of Dino Knight armor was absolutely badass. Wasn't it though? Wasn't it though? I mean, Ko just standing in the fires, Zato just standing in the fires, just unfazed, right? You don't know the power of the morphing grid, but you're about to find out, bro. And then all of a sudden, like transforming and then taking the shot, like there's a whole different level of arrogance and confidence steaming from Zato once he actually gets on that Dino Knight armor to stand there and just let it hit him. If you guys have ever seen the Zack Snyder Justice League cut, it almost reminds me very much of Superman coming in at the very last portion of the movie. He swoops in as Steppenwolf's coming down with his axe, and Superman steps in to protect whoever he's about to attack, and the axe just lands right on Superman's shoulder, and he just, like nothing, unfazed, and just looks at Steppenwolf and is just like, I'm not impressed, and then just beats his ass. That's exactly what Zato just did in here. Was just like, these little weapons of yours, this little sword of yours, like get this out of here. The idea they literally yokes up homeboy, lifts him off the ground, and rushes him through a couple of barrels and stuff. I mean, Zato beat that ass. Complete badassery. I totally agree with you. Nanditha, what's up, Nanditha? I appreciate you coming through. Abase says, I'm just going to say it before everyone else companies or maybe complains. I don't mind the side plot of Jane and Jay Borg thinking they saw a real ghost. This was a cool segue for Amelia and seeing Ollie actually asked to join. And I didn't have a problem with Jane and Jay Borg in this episode at all. It's really when they start diving into the overly physical comedy is when I start having my problems with Jane and Jay Borg. And I don't think a lot of people would complain about them at all, Ibase. I think you got to read the room a little bit better, but I don't think people could complain about Jane and Jay Borg, at least in this episode. I kind of find it funny, her roller skating, falling into the cabbages, coming into, falling into all the clothes and stuff. I kind of really enjoyed the shot of her going through the clothes being flown into the air, and we don't see her off screen, but the camera stays still on Jay Borg, and then we see Jane come around the side with all her, all the clothes like draped over her and things like that. I just really like the way that scene was kind of put together, and even the very end when, even though Jane is bummed about the idea of ghosts not being real, Jay Borg walking in front of her and Jane just putting her hands on her shoulders, and then like literally Jay Borg pulling Jane the rest of the way. I really love those two as a combo. They really work well for me, man. I really appreciate them. Datella says it could just be me, but I think Amelia bears a slight resemblance to Tarek. I think for me at this point, I think I'm off the bandwagon of Amelia and Void Knight being each other's parents or being related. That is something I'm willing to be wrong about. I'm just looking at this like, man, we're two seasons in, almost halfway through the second season, and for me, there's really not been any breadcrumbs outside of Pop mentioning that he worked for Area 62 and that her parents went missing that really make me think that these are Amelia's parents. But listen, we still got a whole second half of the second season to be revealed. Maybe something happens in the next 2 episodes where it clears things up a little bit and Amelia learns something about her past. Because we do see her look at Tarek, not recognize him. He looks at her, doesn't recognize her. There's really no, hey, there's something fishy about your story or something that's missing where I connect to it sort of thing, right? I definitely get what you're saying, Dattel, in regards to there is a little bit of resemblance between the two. But as of right now, I'm probably going to need more information than that before I'm fully on board with that particular theory. It's just not linking up with me like it did very early on in the season when it was a big mystery. As we get further and further and further into it, I feel like everybody else's storylines are being tackled. But Amelia, in that regards, hasn't about her parents. So maybe there's more to come. Maybe there's more to come. Right now, I'm going to hold off on it, though. Good old Chris Crossman. What's up, Chris? Good old Chris Cross. He says, I love the transition from the brand new 2 Sentai footage when Zato said link to Morphin Grid before activating his battleizer. Yeah, there wasn't really a lot of original footage, but if you look closely, it definitely pops in there for sure. Blossom says, I never thought I'd say this, but Ollie and Amelia would be a pretty good couple. Hi, welcome to my side. Welcome to my side, Blossom. I'm so happy to see you come around after such a long time. She says, I'm starting to ship them too. Yeah, man, it's becoming easier to digest. Byron says, I could go a season or 2 without a couple in Power Rangers season. I get that for sure, Byron. I'm right there with you. I don't necessarily think everybody every season needs to be a couple or be in a relationship. I definitely get what you're saying there. But I've really enjoyed how they've handled the relationship so far this season. I thought they've been pretty well. So Rob says, Ollie was good in this episode. He wasn't a jerk this time around. Yeah, he's learning his lessons. Video DVD says, man, Russell's acting was superb, and Bert Selling did it again. That Dino Knight armor theme was awesome. Can't wait to see what will become of Tarek. Yeah, that Dino Knight armor theme was pretty spectacular. Again, definitely drew out my emotions for sure. It really worked incredibly well here. I don't know if Bert Selling does commission work, but listen, Bert, I would love for you to do a theme song for any of my YouTube channels any day of the week. Alexis, what's up, Alexis? Appreciate you coming through. Says, yo, Adam, I'm loving Super Sentai better than Power Rangers. Listen, to each their own. To each their own. I definitely, certainly do. I tend to really enjoy Super Sentai a little bit more than Power Rangers, but I can't lie. Dino Fury is kicking some ass this season, man. It truly is. The idea that we've got Power Rangers that's so damn good this year, along with Super Sentai that's so damn good this year with Don Brothers. They're not holding back, man. They're really giving us some great content from both franchises. So Rob says, "Do you think Snag Eye will return?" There's a part of me that thinks they will. That thinks that Snag Eye will. Just from my Real Soldier experience and stuff, but I could be wrong. I will be curious to see how they pull that off, if any. Good old Usai certainly coming through. This episode was super dope, and my boy Zato putting in work. The Real Soldier footage is still badass. I most definitely, man. Like, I still was blown away by watching it. Like, a couple of years later, it still impresses the hell out of me. Tarek says, the Dino Knight armor is hands down my top 10 battleizers ever. Absolutely, Tarek. I definitely agree with you, man. This was a cool, unique introduction of battleizer given by a former villain or anti-hero. So beautiful armor. And again, I'm really crossing my fingers and hoping that we get to see this in live action at some point. And not like, original footage at some point in time. I really want to see how it looks original footage wise and really pops, because the Super Sentai footage is aged a couple of years. So I want to see what it looks like now. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's probably top 5 for me, for sure. Good old Daniel. What's up, Daniel? I can't wait for the second half of Power Rangers Dino Fury. Me either. And I'm really hoping that we get ourselves a release date sooner rather than later. Adrian Perez. Zato, so angry at Tarek, was similar to Nick from Mystic Force when he got angry at Leon Bao. As his father for what he had done to Korag, not believing that he was noble. One of my top favorite scenes in PR. You guys are making some really great comparisons to past seasons in regards to how they echo current one, from the Dino Thunder one to Mystic Force. I appreciate the connections there. DHR2, what's up? He says, yeah, we'll definitely get into that, DHR. He says, by the way, this episode is my favorite. Yeah, it's definitely up there for me, man. It's definitely up there for me. S. Karoma in the house. Season 2 half episode, I'm waiting. What else we got? Robert says, I get the feeling Void Queen Santora may kidnap Amelia if it's a reveal that she's her and Tarek's queen's daughter and turns her into Void Princess. Oh, that would be fantastic, Robert, if we got a Void Princess in here also. That would be pretty cool. But look, Tilla threw this out here a couple of weeks ago. We kind of leaned on the idea of what happened to Santora a little bit, right? Kind of really throwing up some question marks in here about the idea of what is it about Santora where Void Queen now feels very much like they need to get revenge on the humans? I think it was Tilla that referenced the idea like, hey, maybe if Amelia is in fact their daughter, maybe she got kidnapped from them or pulled away from the arms of her mother or something like that, and maybe given to another family. You know what I mean? Like, who certainly knows? The plot definitely thickens in regards to the Amelia, Void Queen, and Void Knight situation. Yeah, I do remember we just talked about that last week, Tilla, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, trying to figure out what it is that she's so wants revenge for so badly. And something like that would certainly do it for me. But it is one of those things where it's like, Void Knight not having that same passion to stick around does make me wonder, does he, if that's the case, does he think his daughter is dead? Does he think that there's no way of getting her back? Like, the idea of just wanting to leave your daughter behind, but the mother doesn't. Right. So I'm still really much up in the air and question marking, what is the reason for her revenge? Is it Amelia? Is it something completely different? I definitely need to find out. Hopefully we get some answers soon. All right, guys. And with that out of the way, we appreciate discussing Dino Fury with you guys. So don't worry, next week we will in fact be back with episode number 10 as we go ahead and finish off the first half of season 2, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, let your thoughts once again of episode number 9. Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. And with that out of the way, we will continue along with our Dino Fury momentum as DHR tried to get to this topic before we certainly could. But Power Rangers are in award season, believe it or not. I know it's not every day that we get the opportunity for Power Rangers to certainly take home an award, but they're definitely doing so. As Mega Power Brazil did go ahead and put together an article in regards to this, letting us know the Power Rangers Dino Fury wins a GLAAD Media Award. And we'll definitely dive into what a GLAAD Media Award is in case you guys are not familiar with this award that's certainly being handed out. But Power Rangers Dino Fury has been getting a ton of recognition for all the firsts that it certainly has had this season. And for this particular award, specifically in regards to the idea of the first LGBTQ plus Ranger revealed and a part of this particular team. So we're going to go ahead and certainly dive into this a little bit. We've had other people comment in regards to this award. I believe the Power Rangers YouTube page, not Power Ranger YouTube page, but the Power Rangers Twitter handle mentioned this. Let me go ahead and pull this up for you guys. It says the cast and crew, writers, and production team of Power Rangers Dino Fury is delighted to accept the 2022 GLAAD Awards for Kids and Family Programming. Power Rangers promotes acceptance of all and celebrates our differences. Go Power Rangers. So the idea of diversity and inclusion has honestly never been as strong as it certainly is today here, as Dino Fury is definitely getting recognized for its fantastic handling of this season. Let's go ahead and dive into, though, the Mega Power Brazil article for you guys. It does say today GLAAD announced the winners of the 33rd edition of the GLAAD Media Awards, and Power Rangers was one of the members, or one of the winners. It says the GLAAD Media Awards honor the media for fair, accurate, and inclusive representation of LGBTQ people and issues. Since its inception back in 1990, the GLAAD Media Awards has grown to become the world's most visible annual LGBTQ award, sending powerful messages of acceptance to audiences around the world. It says Power Rangers Dino Fury, the first season produced by Hasbro, won for the Best Kids and Family Program Award. It says the first LGBTQIA plus character in the TV series. It does go on to reference Izzy Garcia has a relationship with the character Fern, who appeared in the beginning of Dino Fury when the two competed in track and field. The matchmaker Izzy tries to arrange a date with Fern, but her brother Javi thinks she's in love with her friend Adrian and tries to get the two of them together. At the end of the episode, he discovers Izzy and Adrian weren't in love with each other. This isn't the first time an LGBTQ character has been featured in the franchise. The first was Trini, the Yellow Ranger from the 2017 feature. Later, we had a couple in Araline and Remy from Power Rangers comics, the Solar Rangers as well. So shout out to Mega Power Brazil for even putting in the Solar Rangers in here also. So Power Rangers Dino Fury has won Best Kids Female Programming Award at the GLAAD Media Awards, that again honors the media for fair, accurate, and inclusive representation of the LGBTQ people, sending a powerful message of acceptance to audiences around the world. And, you know, one of the things that we've talked about here when it comes to this episode, especially when it comes to Izzy and Fern also, is that I've really enjoyed the way that they've handled it. You know, sometimes LGBTQ relationships and stuff can really be showcased with such a stigma attached to it. You know, a lot of negative connotations to what being in a gay or lesbian relationship means, and can sometimes, you know, dehumanize or demonize, you if I should say, certain people for showcasing the love that they have for people that just happen to be the same sex as them. And sometimes the idea of being gay definitely carries, like I said, that negative stigma behind it. And sometimes they are very much unfairly represented when it comes to the media or just television in general, movies sometimes. So these awards are really to showcase when it's really handled extremely well. And one thing about Dino Fury that I've always mentioned is that I felt that they definitely have handled this as well as they possibly could. The fact that this is getting an award for kids and family programming to me showcases the idea that Dino Fury very much has sent a message out there where it's very digestible and easy for kids to understand, for families that maybe watch Power Rangers together, for maybe parents to be able to eventually have those conversations with their children when they're certainly ready to, but being able to see it accurately and portrayed in this particular manner, I think probably makes it a lot easier for people to have those conversations. And I think also gives people a different perspective on, how they view those type of relationships. Because really, I think what Dino Fury has done so incredibly well is, while they don't necessarily thrust it into your face, it's really just a showcase of showing how much Fern and Izzy truly just care about each other, right? And I think that's really the lesson that you just want to be able to show: caring and loving for people in general, regardless of the sex or what the person looks like. You know what I mean? And I think that they've handled it with such graciousness, the hand holding, the smiles and the hugs, the little comments towards each other's, maybe the winks, the nods, the little kisses on their cheek sort of thing, right? Very much handling it properly with kid gloves, and something that pretty much hopefully won't offend too many people or families out there. Even though I don't necessarily know if they care so much about offending people so much as let's just give an accurate representation and show the idea of Power Rangers always being inclusive and pushing diversity, but now so certainly more than ever. And I've really enjoyed the way that Dino Fury has handled it. Now, again, people will certainly have their own beliefs, whether it's religious, political, whatever your reasons are. I don't want to say I don't really care, but to whatever your reasons are, those are certainly your own. But I do hope that Dino Fury, in some capacity or another, not to say that Dino Fury is out here trying to change your mind and make you go from one perspective to a completely different other one. I think the idea of Power Rangers Dino Fury is really the idea of just opening your eyes to it a little bit more, seeing this relationship showcased in such a way to where maybe in your head somewhere or in your mind space, you make some changes in your perspective, or you become a little bit more open-minded to it. Even if you still feel some type of way about it, maybe the idea of accepting it a little bit more easier is certainly the way to go, right? Nobody expects anybody to change from 0 to 100. Stuff takes progression and time to affect people, and to, for me, while I certainly consider myself a Christian, I certainly will say there's been a lot of life experiences and firsthand encounters that I've certainly have gone through that don't necessarily line up with every single Christian belief that comes out of a Bible, right? Like I for myself have definitely, while I consider myself religious and spiritual to a certain aspect, and I definitely consider myself a Christian as I am certainly saved, there are definitely aspects to my own belief system that I certainly incorporate, that I think as we get older, we can bend without breaking in regards to our beliefs and how we view people and things like that. And so Dino Fury for me, I don't never see it as pampering or trying to form people into becoming something else, right? There's, again, that negative stigma aspect. This for me just showcases the idea of we're all the same. We all just want somebody to love in our lives. And hopefully, by the way that Fern and Izzy express themselves, it creates a very much more positive light and a positive picture around those type of relationships, where people become a little bit more accepting. And if not, still, if they still feel some type of way, maybe not feel as some type of way as they did before. And I think if you can accomplish that, that's progress, right? That's progress. But you need moments like this to even happen in order to get that progress. And the fact that the GLAAD Media Awards recognize that for the incredible work that the writers and Simon Bennett and again Tessa Rao, and I don't know the actress, I believe her name is Jacqueline. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. The actress that plays Fern, I thought they've done a marvelous job in regards to really showcasing it extremely well. And it's a nice change of pace, if you ask me, in regards to it. So kudos to them, man. Kudos to them. They've certainly have come a long way, and Power Rangers continues to show why it's as exclusive and diverse as ever, guys. But yeah, definitely go ahead and certainly let me know your thoughts. But trust me when I say it wasn't just the Power Ranger Twitter that wind up having something to say about this. Oh, real quick before I even do that, I do want to highlight this is the GLAAD Awards social media site put this together and went ahead and presented this to Power Rangers Dino Fury, Outstanding Kids and Family Programming. And I think, again, I think it's the idea of understanding who the audience is for the Dino Fury show, how they've handled um this relationship between these two, and expressing that to not only families but children as well. I definitely do think that they very, very much deserving of this award, because it's really truly one of the things that we've talked about. I've said this from the beginning, that I felt that they handled it extremely well with baby gloves, but properly. And the fact that they won an award based off of it, I think showcases that they handled it extremely well. So not only was it the Power Rangers Twitter that said something, but good old Simon Bennett said something also. What's up, buddy? It's so good to see you again. No, all right. That's all right. That's all right. I got 2 episodes left, Simon. If you want to be an asshole about it, that's cool. No handshake, man. No high five. That's cool. That's cool, Simon. But anyway, good old Simon Bennett is back in the news. Let's see what Simon had to say, shall we? Let's go ahead and pull this up here. Simon, what you talking about today, bro? What are you talking about today? And I'll keep it up here so you can see Simon's face. I'll be over his shoulder right here, guys, so you can see me. Simon says, thrilled that Power Rangers Dino Fury has just won the GLAAD Award for Best Kids and Family Programming. I want to acknowledge the writing team who developed the Izzy and Fern story, Chip Lynn and Hasbro for supporting the idea, and Maya Thompson, who wrote the key episodes. That's interesting to me. Let's look something up. Dino Fury. Let me see if there's a Wikipedia page here. They'll usually will show who the writer is and stuff for each episode. I am curious if they have her name listed. So let's go to episodes. Okay, season 2. All right. So the Fern episodes, yeah, there is some in here. There are some episodes in here that look like that. What was that? Stitched Up, though? The Stitched Up episode? Yeah, Becca Alwyn, Becca and Alwyn, Maya Thompson, and Guy Langford were writers of that one. There is also Maya Thompson's also in Numero Uno, the very first episode we had here for the second season. I'm trying to see the other shows, the other episodes with Izzy in them. The Matchmaker, yeah, Maya Thompson, also Teleplay by Maya Thompson. So yeah, I didn't realize that there was actually an additional writer on board, and Guy Langford that actually helped out with those scripts specifically. I think if you go back and look at the specific episodes in which that are really focused on Fern and Izzy, even Super Hot Shot is written, has a story, is part Maya Thompson also. So it looks like she really kind of came in regards to helping them navigate through this storyline between Fern and Izzy. And I do find that interesting that it's only Maya really stepping in on those episodes that are focused on Izzy and Fern. Like I do wonder if it's her that's really setting the tone for how their relationship is showcased. You know what I mean? So when Simon Bennett, gives lets her know, like, and Maya Thompson, who wrote the key episodes, yay, I think that says something. So I think Maya is probably really responsible for a lot of what we see here. He says, not to mention the wonderful Tessa Rao and Jacqueline Joe, who embodied Izzy and Fern with such sensitivity and joy. Absolutely, man. I think they handled those roles extremely well. So but yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to, are you surprised to find out that not only did Chip Lynn support this, but also the fact that Maya Thompson was another key writer this season that maybe some of us weren't aware of when we just kind of see Becca and Alwyn's name majority of the time. So Maya Thompson definitely had a very big key role to certainly play with those specific episodes for sure. So congrats to her. And I'm so glad to see that Chip Lynn is involved in some capacity. I don't know how big of a capacity, but the fact that him and Simon Bennett still continue to talk and have conversations, and him encouraging Simon to go ahead and take that leap and that big step. Incredible stuff, man. Incredible stuff. So yeah, man, this cast and crew honestly continue to surprise me each and every week. And it's just really making Dino Fury an incredible, incredible experience. But yeah, guys, again, I want to know your thoughts at the end of the day. What do you guys think of Dino Fury winning the GLAAD Award? Definitely go ahead and let me know what you guys think in the live chat or the comment section box below. Let me see here. We got Ibase says, I checked the official Power Rangers social media page, and for the most part, all the comments were positive with the GLAAD Awards with Izzy and Fern. I think so too. I mean, I haven't read all the comments. I'm sure you'll probably find some negative in there, but definitely a lot of positivity surrounding these characters and the storyline that they've had so far. I mean, they've really have done a great job just creatively, storyline wise, that make you really just love these two. Let me see. Yusai says more notoriety is always a great thing. Good for PR, right? It's another form of being recognized and having people realize, oh, Power Rangers are still on the air. Oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll give this series a shot. You know what I mean? Whatever it takes to certainly bring back people into it, for sure. It certainly goes a long way. Yusai says, you're right, Adam. Progress is literally a small step at a time. So I'm glad that they are moving in a more progressive path. Absolutely. It always takes progress, and it does take time sometimes. Sometimes we are very much, what I want it now, right? Sometimes we are very much on polar opposite ends. That's why that's why I'm like, what happened to the notion and the idea of compromise, right? The idea of, like, we may not be able to get everything that we want right away, but there is always a way to progress to get to that point. And if you don't work on the little steps to progress, to get to where you need to go, you're literally going to be sitting around forever wanting something to happen so bad and it never certainly get accomplished. You know what I mean? So again, it's very much the situation of what we read in the Den of Geek interview a couple weeks back by Seamus Kelly, where he says the fact that it took us so long to get to this point, after so many years of people pushing it back, saying, oh, it's not the right timing, always trying to find a way as to why we shouldn't do this now, sort of thing, right? Now it's happening. 2017, the Solar Rangers, Dino Fury, right? Really, the progress is certainly happening. So baby steps, but it's happening. It's out there in the world now. Datilla says representation is important and it matters. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes I know we get into our own bubbles that we live in, and it's hard to put ourselves in other people's shoes. And we may not be able to identify with everybody and the things that they deal with. But I've always felt like, at the end of the day, being able to see yourself, to let you know that you're an important person and that you matter. Sometimes that's hard for people to grasp, that can't put themselves or empathize or be in other people's shoes, if you will. But it really does truly go a long way. It really, really does. And I'll even use an example here, because I made an example once of Into the Spider-Verse and how it, and the feeling that it kind of gave me, even though it was animated. I was talking with my friend Arlen at work a couple days ago, and he says, you know what, man? He says, can I be honest with you? He says, I don't know if I've ever felt like more proud or happy watching Into the Spider-Verse when I hear Miles and his mom talking Spanish. And he was like, I don't know. He's like, it's the first time that I felt truly connected to a character. Something as small as speaking Spanish. You know what I mean? Um, it, it's amazing what movies and television can do in regards to making somebody feel some type of way. And the idea that we can't live in our bubble forever, that when we open our doors and we go out there, there are people of 100 different types. And each of those people certainly deserve to be represented and showcase that there is a place for you in this world in some way or another. And Power Rangers, I think, does a fantastic job of showcasing that anybody can be a Power Ranger. You can literally do anything that you want to and be who you want to be and be a superhero all at the same time. So, yeah, representation is certainly important. Doomsday says representation is awesome. Also, glad to see you guys on board with this. Yusa says, yo, Simon, stop playing with my boy Adam. He'll come around one day. He'll come around one day. So Rob says, I totally agree with you. It's a good thing PR is going even further when it comes to representation now. Congrats. Edward says, congrats to the cast and crew of Dino Fury on winning the GLAAD Award. I appreciate the comment, Yusai, in regards to Blossom, because he says Blossom step at a time. You know, it's okay to be uneasy, but I do hope you understand why it is certainly important. And again, then that's one of the reasons why, you know, I definitely know some people certainly feel uneasy about it. And not everybody's going to be completely comfortable with it. You know what I mean? But again, it is one of those things where hopefully something like Dino Fury eases those concerns just a little bit more. Like at least hopefully when you started watching Dino Fury, it's a little bit less of an unease for you now. You know what I mean? Nicole says, correct me if I'm wrong. Did Izzy and Fern holding hands for the first time air on Nickelodeon or just Netflix? If so, I wonder if Nick removed that scene or kept it. I want to say it was. It's a good question. Something tells me it was Nickelodeon. Was it Nickelodeon? I don't remember. Something tells me it was Nickelodeon, but I could be wrong. All right, guys. And with that out of the way, I will go ahead and move on to our next topic in regards to Sunny. What's up, Sunny Shield? They won an award. Yes, they certainly did for outstanding kids and family programming from the GLAAD Media Awards. All right. He says, yes, man, exactly. It's so wonderful for everyone to see themselves in superhero stuff. And Izzy and Fern are adorable. Yeah, they make a pretty damn cute couple. I can't even lie. Like their prom outfits, Tessa Rao was looking incredible in that suit, man. I was really impressed with their prom gear for sure. All right, guys. And with that topic out of the way, we will transition over to another Power Ranger topic that kind of came up in the middle of the week and kind of came randomly out of nowhere in regards to a good old hashtag I love Power Rangers. You know, over on social media, sometimes the social media world can definitely get very negative, especially when it comes to the Power Ranger fandom, especially during time periods of transition from old to new, when there's certainly a lot of uncertainty up in the air. Some people have questions in regards to how Hasbro's handling the franchise. There can be a lot of negative voices out there and a lot of pushback in regards to the fandom from time to time. And it really can be a little bit overwhelming and toxic at times. But this past week, there was a gentleman out there by the name of Adam, not this Adam, but another Adam, on Twitter. I think he goes by the handle at Lil Adam 87, LIL Adam 87. I want to say he actually put this together, the hashtag I love you Power Rangers. It was really an idea that he came up with in the sense of there being so much negativity. Let's talk about the things about Power Rangers that we love. Why do you love Power Rangers? And I remember he actually set the date for everybody to go ahead and really push this hashtag. And the hashtag was successful. It definitely worked. It got not only Hasbro talking, not only the Power Rangers talk Twitter account handle talking. Simon Bennett gave his reasons. Cast members from the past gave their reasons. People that were connected to the Power Ranger franchise. Like it really, really blew up. Other YouTube content creators were out there putting up their 3 reasons why they love Power Rangers so much. And it was a fantastic day in regards to just positivity surrounding this particular fandom. So much so that Power Rangers and Hasbro decided to go ahead and reveal a brand new Lightning Collection piece in celebration of hashtag I love Power Rangers. Now, listen, I don't know if Adam knew that they were going to drop this all along. Who knows? Maybe in some conspiracy theory way, Adam was working with Hasbro all along and just wanted people to start talking positively because they had plans on releasing this all along. Who knows? That's just conspiracy theory talk if you want to know. But this was a huge event. To the point to where some sites have certainly recognized it. And this takes us to I should say TokuNation.com. Let's see here. Lightning Collection Blue. It says that the Power Rangers Twitter page has revealed a new entry into the Power Ranger Collection series. Fans of the Wild Force will be thrilled to see Surging Shark Wild Force Blue Ranger recreated in superb detail. Sadly, no other release dates details for Lightning Collection Wild Force Blue Ranger have been confirmed at this time of writing. I am a little bit bummed that this article, though, doesn't explain the full picture as to why Hasbro and Power Rangers revealed this Lightning Collection piece to begin with. I do feel like maybe a little bit more detective work would have probably been great in regards to putting that article together. So let me fill in some of the blanks for you, okay? So yes, the idea of them pushing this forward does all come from one gentleman, and that is, again, Adam, at Lil Adam 87, who wind up putting this heart face once Power Rangers revealed this. It says, since we've been feeling the love from you today, Ranger Nation, we wanted to share a little preview of what's to come, Wild Force Blue, and stick with us in 2023 because we're shifting into high gear. So I think that kind of gives us an idea as to maybe the next series of collections that we're going to be getting in 2023. But yeah, guys, make no mistake, good old Adam definitely went ahead and put this together. You can go to his Twitter page if you'd like to, and it's just a bunch of things. It says, Josh convinced me to change his hashtag. Glad he did. Thank you so much for helping and sharing your reasons. And he winds up thanking everybody else that really came through. I mean, the list continues to go on in regards to people that came through for the hashtag I love you Power Rangers. And without Adam and what he wind up putting out, who knows if we would have gotten this Lightning Collection or not. But a lot of this heavy lifting and hard work just comes from a fan of Power Rangers, wanting to recognize the positivity that the fandom certainly still brings. And so shout out to Lil Adam 87 over on Twitter for an amazing job in regards to just, you know, what a little positivity can certainly bring. We definitely need that certainly from time to time. But if you guys want a more detailed look at it, here is in fact the toy or the action figure itself. Datilla says, I participated in that hashtag I love Power Rangers. Yeah, I saw a couple of people there for sure. I definitely saw you, saw yours as well. Enrique says the Wild Force Blue Ranger Lightning figure is amazing. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it, honestly. It looks pretty good. I love that they added the little I love Power Rangers font in there too. Tarek says, Max, he is my very first Blue Ranger. Wild Force was my first season ever. Yeah, Max was pretty great. Never give up. Let me see. So Rob says the Blue Ranger figure is in a lighter hue, as in Ollie's suit. I have a feeling that will be Hasbro's signature going forward. Lighter, sometimes muted colors. Oh, okay. I'm glad you noticed that. Jack Daniel says, I sure hope that this is a sign we get more figures that are post MMPR. We need more seasons to be recognized in toy form. I definitely agree with you there, Jack. If anything, it does say maybe 2023, stick with us. We'll be shifting in the high gear. Maybe we start getting, those post MMPRs that you're referring to. Blossom says, other reason I love Power Rangers, I relate so much to certain characters like Billy, Adam, Trini, Bridge, etc. Plus, I sort of like ogling at some of the boys. Well, I get you. I get you. And side note to Gabriel, no problem, man. I'll add timestamps as soon as I can once this is wrapped up. But yeah, guys, definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts. If anything, I really appreciate the idea of Hasbro and Power Rangers recognizing the love and doing something really fantastic for the fan base, releasing this, if you will. I did see somebody say, oh, you only want to hand out stuff when the fans kind of kiss your ass. I think they kind of missed the point on what this was certainly supposed to be, especially when we get when Hasbro already gets a lot of pushback of, do you think they care about the fans? Do you think that they care about the direction of, the franchise? I think just a little bit of a nod towards the fans, some recognition towards the fans, I think really does go a long way, sort of thing. So I'm hoping something like this will certainly ease the pain of some fans that might have towards Hasbro, certainly going forward. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. And we will go ahead and transition over to some Tokusatsu news for you guys. That's right. Let's get into some Tokusatsu news. I'm going to go ahead and knock this one out real quick for you. I had this story coming a little bit later, but I'll knock this out as we unfortunately had a passing in the Tokusatsu community this past week. And just a quick disclaimer before I go ahead and dive into this, I'm not too familiar with this gentleman's work. I'm sure there's probably going to be other people out there that might be more familiar with him than I am. So if you are familiar with this gentleman's work, feel free to let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below in regards to his impact on you or what you enjoyed about his roles or whatever the case certainly may be. I may not do this gentleman the justice that he certainly deserves, so I just wanted to put a disclaimer out there because I'm not too familiar. But the next topic that we have here, guys, is unfortunately actor Hiroyuki Watanabe has passed away. Hiroyuki Watanabe has passed away. I believe somebody, Jonathan Jennings, or somebody maybe over on Twitter, let me know about this passing. So let's go ahead and dive into this to give us maybe a little bit more details about his career, if you're not familiar with him. This comes to us from Tokusatsu Network, letting us know. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. A great picture of him. Actor Hiroyuki Watanabe has passed away at the age of 66 years old. According to official sources, on May 5th, the veteran Japanese actor was found passed out in the training room of his basement on Wednesday, May 3rd. Man, look at that salt and pepper hair of his. He's just looking just swagged out, just Mr. Confidence over here. I love that sweater of his. An official statement by Watanabe's management agency released the following statement. The family and staff are stunned and saddened by the suddenness of this event. As for the funeral, the company said, after consulting the family, we will hold a secret funeral. It says Watanabe is widely known to Tokusatsu fans for his role as Kamen Rider Gao in the 2007 movie Kamen Rider Den-O and Commander Akio Ishiguro in Ultraman Gaia. Watanabe also featured in Gamera reboot film trilogy, as well as the 2001 movie Godzilla. Also Mothra and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. And it also says Watanabe also provided, and I found this super interesting, Watanabe also provided the voice for Michael Keaton for Bruce Wayne Batman in the Japanese dub of the two Batman classics, Batman and Batman Returns. So technically, Watanabe was Batman at some point. That's pretty crazy. That's kind of like good old Kevin Conroy doing voice work for the Batman animated series. I mean, we're literally talking the two biggest Batman movies during their time period of Batman and Batman Returns. And this was Japanese Batman. That's pretty crazy, man. That's pretty awesome. So I learned something new just going through his past work in here. But unfortunately for Mr. Hiroyuki Watanabe, he has passed away at the age of 66, but his memory will certainly not be forgotten. There's a part of me that kind of now wants to go back and watch the original Batman and Batman Returns with Japanese dubbed. I kind of want to hear his voice in regards to that. That's pretty badass to learn that about him. But yeah, guys, again, certainly let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below for the passing of this amazing tokusatsu artist. Doomsday says rest in peace for sure. Most definitely. Enrique says Kamen Rider Dano movie actor Kamen Rider Gaon was the favorite writer, a villain. Rest in peace. Most definitely, man. Most definitely. Doomsday says, I didn't know about the Batman part. Neither did I. An ex-common writer for Batman. Holy macaroni. I know it totally shocked me too when I read when I wind up reading that in the article. So the fact that Homeboy used to be Batman as far as dubbed and voiceover, I mean, shit, the fact that we can't, they're not gonna refilm Batman with him as a Japanese actor, but this is like as close as they get, you know what I mean? So I definitely kind of view Watanabe is like another Batman in my eyes in regards, and I'm, at least in the Japanese culture, I think that's pretty impressive stuff, man. That's pretty cool. But yeah, guys, definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the live chat or comment section box below. And with that out of the way, we will go ahead and transition over to more tokusatsu news for you guys today. As the next topic, we will continue in regards to Kamen Rider, as we are getting a little bit further details for Kamen Rider W Fudo P. That is, in fact, going to be the brand new animated series from Kamen Rider. This will serve certainly as the sequel to the Kamen Rider W live action series. Fudo P, if I'm not mistaken, was originally a manga that is now being adapted into anime. And so we wind up, we've been highlighting them for quite some time, but we did get ourselves some brand new key art here in regards to Fudo P. As it's getting closer, guys, it's getting closer to dropping. This week, we finally get ourselves a release date in regards to when we can certainly expect it. So let's go ahead and dive into this. This article, I believe, also comes for us from the Tokusatsu Network. Where are you? You know what? Actually, this is Toku Nation. I apologize. It says the Fudo P release date has been confirmed. An official release date has been announced for the upcoming Kamen Rider W Fudo P anime project. This new project will begin on August 1st on the Unext streaming service, with the traditional broadcast schedule beginning August 8th. In addition, some Kamen Rider W veterans will be returning for the series on the musical side. It says, finally, the anime streaming service Crunchyroll has confirmed Fudo P will be a part of their summer 2022 lineup, so Western fans will have a chance to enjoy this new Rider adventure. So again, it seems as though while this new venture will begin on August 1st on the Unext streaming service, with the traditional broadcast schedule beginning August 8th. That is, in fact, Japanese or in Japan. As far as when that will begin for Crunchyroll, I don't believe that they've confirmed it yet, but it just says it will be part of their summer 2022 lineup. Now, if I do go over to Toku Nation or Tokusatsu Network, it does have a little bit more detail. This is more the music, if you will, in regards to some of the details that wind up coming out. It says the anime will begin airing on August 8th. This is a new key visual and music information for the upcoming anime. It says the text above reads, Shotaro and Philip, these two detectives will be joined by one more. So that's what that says. Shotaro and Philip, these two detectives will be joined by one more. I'm assuming that's who the girl is in the middle. This is a reference to the Tokimi, a woman standing between Shotaro and Philip in the visuals, and a character unique to the Fudo P story. In addition, several music artists involved in Kamen Rider W series will return to perform for Fudo P. The theme song for the anime Sumi to Batsu to Angura will be sung by Kamen Rider W alumni Mitsuru Matsuoka. And produced by Koji Kikawa. So I kind of dig that idea that they are taking veterans of Kamen Rider W, really allowing them to maybe keep some of the, maybe if not keep the same, some of the same themes, at least keep some things maybe comparable, carrying over that what they created over there and maybe adding upon it, upgrading it a little bit for the Fudo P side of things. We also did get further information in regards to how many episodes we can expect. This one comes to us actually from comicbook.com, revealing the number of episodes. So it says Kamen Rider will be making its very first anime debut and has revealed how many episodes the new Fudo P anime project will be sticking around for. Toei is currently, what the fuck? Toei is currently celebrating the monumental 50th anniversary of the long-running Kamen Rider franchise, and for this special occasion, the franchise will be branching out in some very unexpected ways. One of these new ways will include its very first anime outing for the franchise, overall that will be picking up from the events of the massively popular Kamen Rider W series from the Heisei era that first premiered over 13 long years ago. It says this new Kamen Rider W anime series will premiere sometime this summer in Japan. Now that it's been confirmed to release on August 1st in Japan, the Unext streaming service gathered its episodes together, has announced that the new anime will be running for 12 episodes in total. So 12 episodes. That means the new series launches this summer. Fans will get a full core of the new adaptation when it finally drops. So yeah, guys, August 8th. Well, it drops in August 1st on the Unext streaming service, but it begins its run on TV in Japan August 8th. And it said that Crunchyroll has announced that it will be streaming when it launches this summer as well, even though the official confirmed release dates is just for international dates right now. So yeah, man, if you don't have Crunchyroll, this is probably your best bet of getting the opportunity to certainly check it out for yourself. So please go ahead and do so, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, man, big things are definitely happening. I'm excited to kind of see Kamen Rider go the path of anime. This really being its first endeavor into that that medium. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing it. I still need to go ahead and check out Kamen Rider W. So this tells me I have at least until August to check out that series, since this is going to be a sequel to it. But it coming to Crunchyroll, I definitely hope it helps put some eyes onto the franchise for sure. But again, guys, let me know your thoughts. What are you guys thinking in regards to Kamen Rider W Fudo P? Are you certainly looking forward to it? Definitely go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the upcoming or the comment section. Enrique says, is Shotaro and Philip are going to transform into Kamen Rider W in the upcoming anime? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not familiar with Kamen Rider W. And if these two characters had any roles in there, I personally don't know. But so maybe, I don't know. Kamen Rider does tend to have what, two Kamen Riders from time to time, if not original, you know, most of the time. So maybe they will turn into them. I'm not quite sure, Enrique. I don't want to give you false information, you know what I mean? But yeah, definitely worth certainly checking out. But August, if you ask me, can't get here soon enough. I'm really looking forward to this. And then last but not least, guys, we will go ahead and get into our Ultraman bag as Ultraman Decker gets closer, ladies and gentlemen. July will be here before we know it. And we've been doing a fantastic service for you guys in regards to really pointing out some of the brand new cast members and characters that we're certainly going to be getting. And it feels very much like now that we've been revealed as to who Ultraman Decker is certainly going to be, it feels as though the next couple of weeks they are going to be diving into the Guts Select team, the newly formed Guts Select team, as this particular series does take several years after the Ultraman Trigger series itself. But welcome on board a brand new Ultraman Decker character. As We're going to go ahead and dive into this. Let's see exactly who this gentleman is. And again, I continue to really enjoy the color combination of these Gut Select costumes. Before it was like black, red, yellow, and white. Now we're definitely getting the black. There's some gray in here, some orange, some gold. It's really, really popping for me. But let's go ahead and dive into this article and see who this new character is that they're certainly talking about. This is it says Nobunaga Daichi cast in Ultraman Trigger. Nobunaga Daichi is joining the cast of Ultraman Trigger as part of the newly formed Guts Select team. Daichi will play Soma Ryuman, Kanata's friendly rival. So let me go ahead and pull up a bigger picture here for you guys. So again, Nobunaga Daichi is joining the cast of Ultraman Decker as part of the newly formed Guts Select team. Daichi will play Soma Ryuman, Kanata's friendly rival. Some of the pilots of the Guts Falcon. Soma is the pilot of the Guts Falcon. Hey, that's right up there with what is it? Haruka, who played who was the Guts Falcon pilot in Trigger, if I'm not mistaken. But it seems as though Soma is now the pilot of the Guts Falcon, a Guts Select vehicle repurposed for the remote control vehicle to a manually piloted one. Oh, wait a minute. What? It says a Guts Select vehicle repurposed from a remote control vehicle, which it was in Trigger, to a manually pilot one. So Soma's like an actual pilot now. Like before, Haruka, I believe, was just literally remote controlled from the Nurse Desi, if you guys recall. She was never actually in the cockpit herself. This feels like that's what it sounds like. It sounds like this is a vehicle that's been repurposed now after all these years from being remote controlled to now manually piloted. Calm and reserved, he doesn't often use his emotions. He joined the Guts Select team against his father's wishes, and he swore to become the best to prove to his father that he made the right choice. The captain calls him an observant genius, given his ability to look at his situation with a critical eye. Okay, I kind of like it. I kind of like that idea. Homeboy has definitely got something to prove, so he definitely was going to be bringing a lot of motivation for sure. Of the casting, though, the actor Daichi stated, "I'm very happy to take part in this show with this wonderful cast and crew. It makes me happy to think that you will be watching every week to see how much Ryuman and his friends grow and how they change together. I hope that this series will help everyone have more courage and confidence in themselves." He's been acting since the age of 14. Has previously starred in TV dramas, movies, and commercials. So welcome, Nobunaga Daichi, who again will be playing Soma Ryuman, the pilot of the Guts Falcon. Excellent stuff, man. Excellent stuff. Really looking forward to the show. I am. I'm really digging also the notion that there are going to be familiar elements from Trigger carrying over here for me as a viewer to really keep those connective pieces together. I can't remember how much time has passed, though, like something crazy, like 30 years maybe. I could certainly be wrong, but I think that's a pretty significant amount of time to certainly have a fair share of changes. But maybe I'm wrong. Once the series begins, maybe they'll clarify a little bit from the last time there were attacks on Earth or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely looking forward to it. All right, guys. Other than that, Enrique says, I hope there's going to be another trailer for Ultraman Decker. I'm pretty sure that there will be. I'm not. I don't believe the season drops until at least July or sometime. So I'm sure we'll probably get ourselves another trailer, if not this month, and definitely June as we get closer to it for sure. I'm definitely expecting that. But yeah, guys, definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. in regards to that last story. Adam does have a question. He says, sorry, twin, but I'm confused. Weeks ago, you announced your departure from More Phenomenal. You said you will stop doing tokusatsu videos except finish Don Brothers. That's true. A Plus More Phenomenal as a show weekly will be coming to an end within 2 weeks. Our last episode will be reviewing Dino Fury episode number 11, along with any other news that we wind up getting throughout the week to certainly discuss. So we will be stopping the A Plus More Phenomenal along with any other content that we've been creating on the channel. The only thing that we will continue to do here for A Plus More Phenomenal will be Don Brothers until that season completes. And then that'll certainly be it. In the meantime, though, after these next 2 weeks, if you do want to follow me still in regards to my thoughts on Power Rangers, we will be transitioning Power Ranger talk over to our other YouTube channel, A Plus Hero Report, where we already talk superheroes there, Marvel, DC, even a bunch of television and movies. And so Power Rangers seemingly fits extremely well in there. It may not be as detailed and heavily focused on as it is here, as More Phenomenal is solely devoted to Power Ranger talk. But anytime that there is big Power Ranger news, whether that be in regards to the television series, the Power Ranger reboot stuff, we certainly will be talking about it on Hero Report. As once we wrap up More Phenomenal, I believe the plan is to at least create a midweek show for Hero Report, along with the Sunday show for Hero Report, which will allow us to fluctuate more stories to certainly talk about, and hopefully being able to fit a Power Ranger story in there from time to time throughout the week whenever Power Ranger news winds up dropping. Sometimes we don't get anything, but there will be more Power Rangers over on Hero Report. But all right, guys, that will certainly do it for us here, but we will now transition over to your live viewer questions. So let's go ahead and dive in and see exactly what you guys are saying today. Oh, sorry, guys. Hold on 1 second. I had a meeting today, later on today at 4, but with everything that's happening in the household, not so much. All right. Sorry, guys. I had to cancel my meeting this afternoon, so I had to send that out real quick. But let's go to our emails, shall we? As we've got a total of 40 emails. God damn. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to try and knock these out as quick as I can. So patience, everybody. Let me see. Jackson Peterson from last week. I don't want to forget you, Jackson. There's been a lot of discussion with the 30th anniversary season announced with David Yost possibly returning. How would you compare Super Megaforce Legendary Disaster with Dimensions in Danger and Beast Morpher's Grid Connection crossover? Out of those three, the Grid Connection was probably my favorite. The returning Austin St. John was just a breath of fresh air. Getting to see Homeboy take a stance again as a leader, transform, even though I wish we had a morphing sequence for him. You know what I mean? Like, y'all couldn't just redo the Tyrannosaurus. You just couldn't put a brand new Austin St. John face in there somewhere, guys. So a little bit bummed in that regards. So I that's probably the one that I enjoyed the most. Legendary Disaster or Legendary Fail, as some people will call it, was just a huge letdown. Great hype, leading up to it, but just a really big letdown. And Dimensions in Danger is certainly one that I enjoyed. I even enjoyed the extended cut of that Dimensions in Danger a little bit more, just because we got more Tommy and some fight sequence and stuff. So it really made it pop for me. But it was lackluster in regards to certain area. Maybe a little bit too much Tommy. We did get some great returning members, but I really would have liked to have seen them also get some more dialogue and focus time. And just the idea of us really dealing with a bootleg Lord Draken. It's just like a Dollar Tree version of Lord Draken. And it was just a really big disappointment. What would you like to be Miles better than all? What would you like to be Miles better than all the recent team-ups and crossover we had in the Neo Saban era and Beast Morphers? Now that Hasbro owns the brand, it is on Netflix with Dino Fury. What would I like to be Miles better than all the other recent team-ups? Maybe length and just storyline wise, I think if you can really um, maybe extend the episodes out just a little bit longer, the idea of us giving a crossover event in just one episode just doesn't do it for me. I did appreciate the way that Beast Morphers kind of did it because it felt like it was a building up towards the grid connection sort of aspect of things, so that when we got there it didn't feel like it was just one episode. It almost felt like it was two or three in a sense, you know what I mean? So maybe better preparation, build up towards the crossover, and the crossover itself, maybe certainly give it more time to breathe so you can focus on paying attention to detail when it comes to the storylines and stuff. So that's probably what I would change. Let's see here. We got Ram Jam in the house. What theme do you think Super Sentai will tackle after Dawn Brothers? Shit, at this point, man, I have no idea. They definitely are changing their course, though. With them being so unique and doing things differently now, it's really hard to call. You also say on Monday stream you were asking if Ultraman would ever adapt in the U.S. Was ever adapted in the U.S. It was adapted. The show was originally featured on a home video and Laserdisc in Japan back in September of 1990 and was later broadcast on Tokyo Broadcasting System. This show was distributed in the U.S. Okay, I'll have to look into it. What are your thoughts on the Lightning collection so far from Hasbro? I'm not the biggest avid action figure collector. So, I know some people feel maybe a little bit more strongly about it than I do. I don't have a single Lightning collection piece in my possession. So if anything, I like what they're certainly creating. I think Loretta Masters and the rest of the team are doing some amazing work there. I know sometimes the quality assurance may not necessarily be the best from the things that I've seen, but I feel like Hasbro's quick to either respond or make corrections or send out people the correct pieces. So I think they're doing okay. I think really the biggest issue that I have that I think other people have is the rollout plan. I am kind of curious as to what makes them, why they choose the ones that they do, why there's still so many incomplete sets. So I think they could definitely do better. I think they did. I think they've been doing well. But I don't know the speed in which you can pop these out, right? If people are already questioning quality assurance, I don't see why we would rush them to give us more. But I definitely have my questions in regards to like what's taking you guys so long to just fill out some of these ones that are missing still. Jericho says, since MMPR, were there times when you noticed something that was kept in Sentai footage or borrowed from Sentai and added in an episode of Power Rangers as an Easter egg? I feel like I have. I just can't think of it off the top of my head, though. Where there have been some things maybe kept in the Super Sentai footage that's aired here in Power Rangers. I can't think off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that's happened before. We say this a lot, but the morphing grid really does work in mysterious ways. There's so many different versions of the morphing sequence that look amazing, even in the really bad seasons. Yeah, man, like I wasn't the biggest fan of Samurai, but Samurai's got a great morphing sequence, man. I absolutely love it. It's easily in my top 3 for sure. But yeah, I mean, I even love the line Zato has in here when he's talking to Snag Eye. You underestimate the power of the morphing grid. Like hell yeah, we do. Because I think you could accomplish anything with that morphing grid. Like it literally does work in mysterious ways. You never know what you're about to get. Kevin Rickardson, do you still like and appreciate that both Beast Morphers and Dino Fury have been putting huge emphasis on the morphing grid? I do. I think it works out. There definitely is, like, I think because of the fact that we haven't explored it as much, the fact that we are exploring it more now, it still feels like there's a ton of questions out there. As much as they're trying to explain for us, it still feels like a lot of questions out there, and I dig that mystery aspect of it. But I appreciate them at least focusing on it more. I think it's added a great dimension to the series for sure. And I think it helps also expand it. I think like the idea of the showcasing the Morphing Masters this season, the impact in regards to like all the artifacts and the power sources that they've created over time. I think it just really broadens and builds the lore of Power Rangers more, and that can only help. I think it allows Dino Fury as a series to stand on its own, especially when it's being another Dino season along with the Morphing Masters. Yep, I remember fans had issues with Neo Saban constantly not making sense with certain powers, mainly Super Mega Force, and I think that's the corrective action that we see here in Beast Morphers along with Dino Fury for that reason. The grid itself even allowed Nate and Steel to both come Rangers at once, and with Izzy being our first green female Ranger, it shows that the grid does not care what color Ranger suit someone gets, including the awesome scene when Izzy ripped off her skirt from the suit. Anyway, anyone can be a Power Ranger. Absolutely, Kevin. Gabriel, what's up, Gabriel? First off, I just want to make sure. Hold on. Making sure I'm not getting doubles here. Let's see here. Kurt, what's up, Kurt? What do you think of the Battleizers being a complete original idea of Power Rangers and not Super Sentai? Did you know that in Super Sentai Magic Ranger versus Deca Ranger, the team up actually borrowed the Battleizer from SPD and used it with its own origin story and morph sequence? That's pretty cool. I did not know that. That's pretty cool. Makes me want to actually check out that Deca Ranger crossover with Magi Ranger for sure. I've loved Deca Ranger. I unfortunately never finished the season because of just so much on my plate now these days, which is a little bit of a bummer, man. I was really freaking loving SP or Deca Ranger, so it definitely might go back and revisit. But I do like the idea of Battleizers being completely original idea for Power Rangers and not necessarily Super Sentai. Whereas with this one though, when it comes to the Dino Knight armor, again, when it comes to Real Soldier, I don't remember anybody else on that team utilizing it with the exception of Ko. So it felt very much like that was even a Battleizer for Super Sentai in its season. So the idea of seeing it in here feels, I don't want to say odd too, but it doesn't feel as an original as we're so used to, right? But I very much look at this as a Battleizer, but we'll see what'll happen though, because they have taken liberties again in Dino Fury to give people or have people wear armors that maybe they didn't in Real Soldier. So it would be pretty trippy if we get the opportunity to see somebody else rock that Dino Knight armor. In fact, I'm going to say we will. I don't know this for a fact, but if I had to make a prediction, I will say that we will see the Dino Knight armor on another Ranger by the end of this season. Let's see here. Michael Rhymes. What episodes or storylines in Super Sentai make absolutely no sense compared to a storyline in Power Rangers or other tokusatsu shows? What did or does Power Ranger do better than Super Sentai? Maybe appeal to kids more? I don't know. Even though Super Sentai, I think, is coming around to that aspect. I don't know if I would say Power Rangers does stunts better than Super Sentai, but I think they're getting closer for sure. If they're not even, they're getting closer. There's really not much that I think Power Rangers does better than Super Sentai. I feel like Super Sentai definitely does more with what it has than Power Rangers. But again, I've always viewed Power Rangers as limited. So I always feel Super Sentai has the upper hand. So again, maybe on par or just behind stunts or fight choreography when it comes to Super Sentai. And maybe appeals to kids a little bit more in regards to that. But again, I think even maybe Super Sentai is getting a little bit better about that as of right now. Outside of that, I don't think they really do too much anything better. But what episodes or storylines in Super Sentai make absolutely no sense compared to a storyline in Power Rangers. Shit, I would say any comedy duo from Power Rangers don't make any sense compared to a storyline in Super Sentai. I would almost have that the other way around. Probably the cross-dressing, maybe. If I had to pick something that Super Sentai does that I just think to myself, yeah, it makes absolutely no sense compared to the idea of a storyline for Power Rangers. Yeah, maybe like any cross-dressing moments that they have, or the team, having to dress up as females or whatever the case may be. Yeah, all those storylines never make any sense to me. Joey, what's up, Joey Thompson? Appreciate you coming through. Oh, actually, I just want to make sure. Okay. I'm just trying to make sure I don't have double emails. Joey Thompson, following my question from last week, was it really confusing why in Dino Fury when Tommy was stuck in his Super 10? Following my question last week, while it was really confusing why in Dino Thunder when Tommy was stuck in his Super 10 episodes without demorphing once, this Grant return in fighting spirit was incredible. Tommy was in a coma after the Rangers used his black Dino gem to try and reverse the invisibility cloak. We got to watch Tommy fight in his coma against his past Ranger forms. MMPR green, white, and Zeo red. Great moments too. Great moments. Red turbo wasn't used, which meant Tommy really did make TJ the sole owner of the red turbo powers. This episode as a whole allowed the Dino Rangers to learn that being a Ranger without powers means that they are still Power Rangers. Tommy reintroduced the Dino theme was Dino Thunder was dope as F. One of the best episodes of Dino Thunder and Power Ranger history. And I'm always a big fan of those storylines. That you can be a Ranger without powers. I feel like that's something that definitely carries over to multiple seasons and definitely Super Sentai also. Marcelino, what's up, Marcelino? I was rewatching some of your older videos and I noticed something off. During your live stream, when you were reviewing the episode where Izzy comes out as LGBTQ, some of the comments that you pulled up were people were disagreeing or being rude. I looked in the live chat for those comments and they were nowhere to be found in the live chat. The Illuminati also has this weird scenario when they are talking about Lupin versus Pat wasn't chosen as the next season of Power Rangers. Someone in the live chat said Simon Bennett hates cops. They were quick to debunk that argument. I was there during the live stream, so I know what happened. But when I go back to watch the video, that comment or person was nowhere to be found at all in the live chat. Does YouTube allow you to ban certain people from live chats, which erases their comment even if the host mentions them, or is there something else wrong with the internet? I don't know if it's the internet. It could be two things. One, I wonder if it's something that YouTube puts together in the sense that, like, if there's hate speech, if there's negativity or whatever the case may be, maybe they squash that shit and they just take it off of the live chat. That feels very much like either a YouTube thing or yeah, or maybe maybe somebody reported them, right? It's been a while since I've gotten back and checked those out, so I don't know how egregious some of the comments got, or maybe it got really heated and say even the live chat. If somebody was blocked or reported on, it could certainly be that could certainly have been the case too. So it's either one of those things. Either YouTube, based off of their algorithm, notices when stuff like that happens, whether it be spam, trolling, negative outbursts type of thing. Maybe they erase that, or maybe somebody in the live chat or YouTube or whatever reported that particular person. Maybe it got out of hand that I wasn't aware of in the live chat further, and maybe eventually somebody reported them and they were gone, and maybe it doesn't show up on the replies anymore. That's a interesting point though, Marcelino. I didn't catch that before. I don't really go back too much and revisit the episodes that I do unless I'm looking for something specifically in regards to articles or things that I might have said. So I missed that. But thank you for bringing that to my attention, Marcelino. Jumping back from the Monday impromptu, I really don't mind waiting a little long. Oh, this is from Jackson. We did an email from Jackson already, but since his email was also from last week, I wanted to give him a shot here for this week too. Jackson says, jumping back from the Monday impromptu episode of A Plus More Phenomenal, I really don't mind waiting a little longer for Jonathan Entwistle's reimagined universe. I'd rather wait for a while for Hasbro to make sure everything is ready and set in stone than immediately get it and see the end result be really bad. I'm right there with you, Jackson. You know, I know we tend to be impatient and sometimes entitled and want our things now. You know what I mean? But in this case, the idea of them mentioning that, you know, it may not necessarily be a priority. Again, we haven't heard Hasbro specifically say that. It's simply just a source coming to us, letting us know, hey, that it may not want to be one of their priorities. I think taking a step back, seeing the two big movies that Hasbro is releasing next year in Dungeons and Dragons, along with Transformers, that should technically be their priority. So that doesn't throw me off at all. If anything, it just means that this gives us more time to work on Power Rangers, making sure that everything is certainly ready to go. So when we are talking about it, we know exactly what it is that we're providing to the fans and can answer the questions that they certainly might have. And we know that we've taken the time to really put our best foot forward and try and do this as best as we can, because they need it to be successful. And when you've already had one franchise in G.I. Joe with the Snake Eyes movie not doing extremely well, you know, you want to make sure that you don't F this up and they're thrown backwards. You know what I mean? So yeah, take your time, Hasbro. Take your time. Good old Suck My Balls is back with a couple questions. He says, I've heard that Sentai seasons are basically independent of one another, but it seems like they know of other Sentai teams in this. I understand how Gokaiger powers are from other Sentai heroes since I've seen some of the Mega Force where my son was watching it. Is Kamen Rider seasons connected? I don't know. I feel like it's probably set up the same way as Super Sentai is. You know, this is the first time in a while that Super Sentai has connected a season. Don Brothers is in fact connected to Zenkaiger. There is certainly some carry over, and there was another season also back in the day that did that as well. That's slipping my mind off the top of me when it comes to Super Sentai, at least. So it's not done very often. You know, even though it is a gigantic universe and people are aware of other teams, Super Sentai wise, right? There's never really been a carryover or bigger connective tissues than that in regards from season to season. How I think Kamen Rider is set up that way, though, similar to how Super Sentai is, but I could be wrong. You might want to ask the Super Sentai fan if the seasons are connected. I don't think they are in the sense of what Don Brothers is doing with Zenkaiger. Like you go from one season and then is connected and continued connection pieces in the next season, so much as they take place all in the same universe and know of each other, but they're very much separate storylines. I could be wrong, but I think that's how it works too. I remember some seasons of Power Rangers, they try to pretend other seasons don't exist, but they later shoot themselves in the foot when they do a team up referring to Ninja Storm and the other Ninja seasons everybody did not like. Yeah, I think the idea of the bigger multiverse and stuff kind of came into fruition a little bit later because it very much felt like that. I'm not going to lie. It is one of those things that I think a part of me kind of fell off of Power Rangers. I love the aspect of the Saban era because all the seasons did connect and add up to a much bigger storyline, whereas the Disney era very much kept them very separate. And it got to the point to where even when we came back in Neo Saban, you know, I was a little bit bummed at the idea. I was like, how do these people not know about their past? You know, how do these people not know about the past Rangers that kind of came before them? Like it, for me, it really kind of defeated the purpose, and I was not the biggest fan of it, but it is something that they've decided to kind of tackle and maybe correct kind of going forward and really expanding the morphing grid and the multiverse and the different dimensions and stuff. So it is something I feel like has personally come back lately. Carter Matthews, what's up, Carter? Appreciate you coming through, Carter. He says, I'm confused. So I started getting back into watching Power Rangers during Beast Morphers. I have very little knowledge. I've only seen like the first 3 seasons of MMPR when I was a kid, when my older brother was 8. For Sentai, I've only seen half of Jetman. I started watching Kamen Rider versus Super Sentai from a clip I saw on YouTube, and it's effing dope. He says, I'm confused. Well, hey, Carter, anything that we can help you out with in regards to questions you might have, definitely go ahead and let us know. If I don't know the answer, pretty sure somebody in the live chat probably does. But trust me when I say, I had to jump back into Power Rangers myself. Back when Neo Saban started, the fact of knowing Saban came back to Power Rangers, I was thoroughly excited. I really wanted to see what he would do once again, and it got me reignited to go ahead and go down the rabbit hole that was Power Rangers once again. Because I did fall off after the Disney, or like I think I just began some of the Disney era stuff and then eventually fell off. So I definitely went back and decided to go ahead and do a massive binge of all the seasons leading up to Samurai, and starting there, if you will, or even maybe Megaforce, if you will. So yeah, it was definitely a big learning curve to have to go back, down memory lane and rewatch some of these. So it can be very confusing at times, but hopefully something like Beast Morphers and Dino Fury bring you back on board, Carter. And again, if you ever have any questions, man, just let us know. Let's see here. J.K. Lawrence, what are some of your favorite fight scenes in classic Saban and Disney era seasons? Disney era. It's been such a long time since I've watched some of these series, but I will say this: the Time Force situation of not Wes, what was his name? Alex, Jen's was it Jen's husband getting killed? That was pretty brutal. It wasn't like a full-on fight scene, if I remember, but I do remember the end result of that fight scene. I'm trying to remember some other ones that really, one that really stuck out, like Cole, battles with Cole from Wild Force always stood out to me. And I'll even give Leo from Lost Galaxy some kudos there. His end battle sequence is always one that always stands out to me for sure. Yeah, man, I was a big fan of that. Let's see here. What else we got? Abase. I just want to make sure I don't got any other duplicate emails here. Okay, Abase. Power Ranger related things that annoy you. Physical comedy. Physical comedy from Power Rangers always annoys me. Again, I'm just not the audience for that, honestly. Power Ranger related things that annoy you. Sometimes the entitlement of the fandom, the inability to accept change and move forward. Like, I know some people are reluctant, but there are some people out there that like just do not want to admit the truth to themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like some trolls that just do not want to admit the truth. Those are kind of annoying to me also. But yeah, Power Rangers as a general, like just the show, really just physical comedy. And sometimes I think maybe sometimes writing the characters to be dumber than they truly are. Let's see here. Good old Carlo Bernardo. Let's see what Carlo was saying. The segment you read last week regarding one of the old stunt directors of Power Rangers and Super Sentai interview was really cool. I love that he remembers his past work on Power Rangers since MMPR, and I just love the amount of details he gave. Yeah, me too. It was a really great insight in regards to seeing just how much has changed. It was great. First off, great questions from the interviewer, but really great detailed answers. Absolutely love that he talked about how the new show itself works around Sentai footage, like reshooting new scenes to avoid punches or kicks to the face, accommodating the show to be targeted towards kids. This also tells me that even modern day seasons right now, like Dino Fury, the film crew shoots new scenes to be more creative with the fight scenes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm a guy that loves behind the scenes stuff when it comes to creating television and movies. So being able to see how the moving pieces work, what changes need to be made as seasons progress and stuff, all that stuff really fascinates me. He says, I love that Yuji is still passionate about Power Rangers and that he still hopes that kids and their families even enjoy the work they've created, right? I mean, to be part of this franchise for such a long time, to still be a part of it and love what you do, man, it speaks volumes. Even acknowledging that he wants the future to be even brighter and better. Yeah, the idea of Power Rangers getting the recognition that he deserves. And it's, again, this is coming from a man who doesn't even know if he's going to be attached to anything that Jonathan Entwistle is creating for the future of Power Rangers, but his love for what he does along with this franchise and Super Sentai, to be able to want this show to not only get bigger and better, but for people to start tuning in more, to recognize their hard work and the great show that Power Ranger is, speaks volumes, Carlos. So I definitely agree with you, man. Great email. Thank you very much for that. I'm glad you got something out of one of these segments that we certainly had. You know, not everything is certainly news related, right? Like sometimes there are interviews that I personally find really fascinating to maybe give us glimpses behind the scenes a little bit more. So I'm glad that you appreciated that segment. Chris Cross, what's up, Chris Cross? What if Stan Lee owned Power Rangers during the Neo Saban era until his unfortunate passing? How would that work? So technically that would have been a Marvel owned Power Rangers, and hell yeah, I would have taken that. Hell yeah, I would have taken that. I mean, who knows? Maybe Stan Lee, you know, I don't know the power Stan Lee had when it came to the MCU and Marvel Studios. That's probably very much more Kevin Feige, but Stan Lee being incorporated or connected to it, maybe it's something he would have tackled on its own. I got to think that he might have maybe tried to include it into the Marvel world in some capacity, whether that be comic books or have Marvel characters, you know, crossover or interlink with Power Rangers. Who certainly knows? But it certainly would have been different. I can guarantee that. Like, to see where Power Rangers would have been now compared to um I guess seeing where Power Rangers was at from Neo Sabana where it is now and seeing where the MCU is at right now, man, it does make me wonder if other things could have been different. Mackenzie, what's up? What do you think of when some longtime Power Ranger fans who stick around the entire franchise, even the Neo Saban era seasons, want to take a break after Dino Fury, which many consider as an absolutely amazing series? Does that make them less of a fan for not wanting to stick around for even more post Dino Fury, or it's okay for them to take a break and try and discover other shows out there? Oh yeah, take a break if you need to, man. Sometimes if all you've been intaking is Power Rangers for such a long time, sometimes people just fall off and just go on with their lives and find other things that they really enjoy, or have moments where, hey, you know what, while I'm a big fan of Power Rangers, you know, something else right now at this point might take my own priority and something I certainly want to focus on, but I always will certainly come back to Dino Fury. For them, that feels very much like a wait and see kind of mentality, right? Big fans of Power Rangers in general, but not sure what Hasbro is going to do. So, you know, maybe you want to take a step back, let Hasbro breathe a little bit and create for Power Rangers further, and then just kind of take a peek and see if it's something that interests you, for you to certainly come back to. But I never question somebody's fandom in the sense of, you know, watching a show and then not watching it anymore, because that's what happened to me. I was a huge, massive fan growing up as a kid. I eventually fell off from Lost Galaxy, or maybe after Lost Galaxy, I kind of fell off, or Time Force. I can't remember the order, but if anything, I eventually found myself coming back just because priorities, my life changed, personality changed, became interested in other things, and eventually kind of came back to Power Rangers as an older adult. Um, and so, you know, people will come and go for sure, but I don't necessarily know if we should, you know, question somebody's fandom or not in regards to it. Because listen, there are some people, you know, I may not necessarily have the same memories or be as knowledgeable or quite the Power Ranger encyclopedia that other people are. Um, but I don't think I deserve to have my, you know, Power Ranger fandom card taken away from me. You know what I mean? Fandom works and looks differently for everybody in regards to how they certainly enjoy it. So if some fans want to take a step back, especially with us being in a transition period and a lot of uncertainty, I don't blame them. I don't blame them. But I would like them to stay in the fold. I would like them to at least keep an eye on what Power Rangers does do, especially with the 30th anniversary upcoming. You would hope that maybe the momentum swing of Power Rangers getting good again with Beast Morphers and Dino Fury, maybe you'll start trusting Hasbro a little bit more and say, you know what, maybe I will come back for the 30th anniversary. But we'll certainly see. It's to each their own, though. To each their own. Let's see here. Who's next? Ionis. What's up, Ionis? If Audrey Dubois stayed on the entire run of MMPR instead of being recast after the unaired plot. See, let me Google this. The name is just not ringing a bell until I see it. I'm terrible with names in that regards. Okay. Oh, Audrey Dubois stayed on the entire run of MMPR instead of being recast after the unaired pilot. How would you think of the chemistry would have been with the other Rangers, even with fans? Do you think this would have even avoided the accidental racism in MMPR when fans told the producers through letters that they made Walter Jones the Black Ranger and Tui the Yellow Ranger? This was fixed with Aisha and Adam in season 2. Who was she supposed to play though? Hold on. Ranger was she? Martial artist who portrayed Trini. Oh, that's the same person? Oh, you know what it was? I'm sorry. I spelled her name wrong. I spelled it Audrey, and it came up with a completely different Audrey Dubois. But Audrey, Audri Dubois, actually comes up with somebody else. So she's an American actress and martial artist who portrayed Trini in the upcoming. What was her nationality, though? She's from Cali. Is she black? It might have. It might have. It might have definitely have eased. It definitely would have avoided the accidental racism in MMPR. Sometimes those stereotypical tropes just get you and you don't even know it, and then you look down and you're like, oh shit, Trini's the Yellow Ranger and the black guy's the Black Ranger. But that probably would have avoided some ease. I mean, if she is African American, then probably, it might have would have made the season better. Who knows? I mean, but people probably wouldn't have joked around about it as much. Joey Thompson, 2 random fun facts about some Power Rangers series. Power Rangers Wild Force, it was the first series to air on 2 different networks, Fox Kids and ABC Kids. The switch to ABC from Fox slowed the writers to still tell mature topics and not censored words, like Cole's parents possibly weren't dead or alive. The other fun fact, Power Rangers Ninja Storm, it was the first Sentai to not have a crossover team up with a previous team. Really? Wild Force, due to production moving to New Zealand. Okay. Yeah, I do recall that now. How cool would it have been if we get a team up with both teams? I really will have loved that, honestly. Their Sentai counterparts did team up with each other, which was really cool plot. I was just thinking to myself, I was like, that's why I was surprised. I was like, really? I was like, because I thought visually I remember seeing that. But that's the Sentai counterpart that you're talking about there. Interesting. You said that their Sentai counters did team up with each other, which had a really cool plot where the Hurricaneer villain found and took the powers of the Go Rangers and attacked the city. Even created a brand new original villain that we never saw in Power Rangers. That's actually pretty cool, Joey. I appreciate you opening my eyes to that. I did not recall that. Mr. Jack Daniels coming through. Just me, but what do you think of some people who are both fans of Sentai and Power Rangers, and how whenever they watch Power Rangers, they don't mind the ridiculousness of the comedy, either the dialogue or physical comedy, but compared to Power Rangers, they get upset specifically the jokes and the physical comedy aspects. I think the Power Ranger, because I feel like I'm probably that person specifically. I'm a fan of Super Sentai and Power Rangers. You say they don't mind the ridiculousness of the comedy. either the dialogue or physical comedy, but compared to Power Rangers, they get upset. Well, for me, and you may not be talking directly to me, just some fans that you know, a couple things I do want to point out, at least for me. Um, for me, I did get upset with the ridiculousness of the comedy in Zenkaiger last season. I thought it was a little bit too over the top, a little bit too much. While I'm a big fan of humor, I appreciate my balance. Uh, Zenkaiger, while humorous, was maybe it just for me, it just didn't take itself seriously enough in certain aspects to be a little bit too all over the place, where Zenkaiger felt very much more like a comedy heavy series. Um, I didn't care too much for Turbo, which was an overly comedy series as well. So I feel like I stick pretty close to my levels of humor, or at least my points of view of Super Sentai and Power Rangers and how I feel about them. The physical comedy aspect, I don't feel like I see it as much in Super Sentai as I do Power Rangers. And if I do, Power Rangers, if there is a difference, Power Rangers, if anything, visually is more over the top. Like, I don't recall the last time I ever seen anybody in Super Sentai give somebody a back massage by literally jumping on their back with wire work, and you just seeing their feet in the air, stomping on their back, or the idea of tap dancing on your feet, right? Like, those are just things I don't really get the opportunity to see in Super Sentai very much. So I don't think the physical comedy is there in Super Sentai as it is with Power Rangers. So I never really complain about it in Sentai. But the ridiculousness of a comedy, I'll definitely complain about it for both sides of things. The dialogue, I still think Power Rangers is a little bit more cringy, but Super Sentai certainly has its moments. But yeah, the comedy, the jokes. So yeah, to each their own. I mean, as long as you're staying, as long as you're staying what's the word I'm looking for? As long as you're not being hypocritical in the sense that, when you say these things, like you're staying true to the things that you say, then yeah, I don't have a problem with it. But if you're a flip-flopper, right, and you're not pointing out the issues on both ends, then yeah, maybe. Blaming the writers or the network before Netflix for treating the audience like they were stupid, even though Power Rangers is more geared towards kids. I just feel like some of these fans are so unfair and biased that they give Sentai a pass when it comes to being funny. I'm a huge fan of both franchises. Sometimes they certainly can. I'll definitely give you that, Jack, for sure. Sometimes they certainly can be. I try and be as fair to both as I possibly can, though, and point it out when I do. Who else we got? Adrian? Oh no, Adam. What's up, Adam? Hey there, my twin. Hope you're great this week. What did you think of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy being the only series to have an all original storyline, even replacing its main Sentai villains with Shrekina, Deviant, Scorpius, and Stingwinger? See, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that it was an all original storyline, to be honest with you. But seeing it now, yeah, I mean, I can kind of see, especially the Shrekina stuff. The Shrekina stuff really stood out to me. So I kind of like that idea. I kind of like that aspect. The show still used Sentai footage for the monsters and the Megazords fights and the team up, only using the actual villain and pirate looking henchman for the 8-part episode arc. I'm kind of curious as to how much that cost them then. And I can kind of see why then a lot of people were big fans of Lost Galaxy. Now you mentioned that. Only using the actual villain and pirate-looking henchman for the 8-part episode arc, Enter the Lost Galaxy, considering the costumes were really goofy looking and would not fit with Lost Galaxy being the space opera like Power Rangers in space. Talk about being creative and spending money on brand new set designs. I was about to say, before I even finished your question, I was just thinking to myself, man, if that's true, I wonder how expensive or how much they actually put budget wise to Lost Galaxy to create all of that. Because that's a heavy load to carry. But I feel like that was Power Rangers probably at like its height, really probably bringing in the dough. So they probably could afford it at that time. But that's pretty eye-opening. Thank you for that email. Nicole, Hey, y'all. Hope y'all doing well today and have a fabulous week. Don't you wish Ivan Ooze was canon to the TV series instead of MMPR movie? I do. I mean, maybe not instead of, but maybe along with. I really would have loved him to pop up, or at least his story be told even in the series itself. He was funny, so funny, but also extremely powerful. He effortlessly overpowered Rita and Zed and immediately cut off the Power Rangers from Zordon. Even after the long journey to get the Ninjetti powers, the Rangers were still getting their asses handed to them by Ivan. He was easily en route to win if that comet wasn't in orbit. Good point there, Nicole. Good point. I definitely prefer his story arc and how the Rangers got to the Ninjetti in the shows than on the movie. Yeah, I'm the same way too. I'm sorry, you said you are definitely prefer his story arc of how the Rangers got their Ninjetti powers in the movie than you are in the show. And I am also. I would have liked to have seen Ivan Ooze pop up. Again, maybe even if his character didn't, because of the fact that one, that actor itself was pretty popular in its day. I don't know if he would have gone to television side of things, but I really would have liked to have seen him more in MMPR show. What exclusive weapon and power up from Power Rangers do you wish Super Sentai would borrow? Give us that big old Mega Fury saber that he's using right now, that Zato's using. Hold on a second. You see my cat? See my cat? She's like, save me. Let me out of here. Hold on a second. Need to go? Go ahead. Telling you, man, I got a fucking arc here. I got male and females of every animal in this house, it feels like sometimes. Um, exclusive weapons. I would even love to have seen the Dino Fury claw, or the claws from Beast Morphers that Devin had the opportunity to use. Those are pretty cool. Francois is up next, I think, with his questions. I want to pull that up here. Bonjour, Beast Morphers. This bothered me since the series ended, but how the heck did Grid Battle Force and Beast Morphers get all the old weapons and morphers from old legacy seasons? Like RPM and Mystic Force, for example. RPM is from an alternate dimension, and Mystic Force took place in a magic realm that now has humans aware of the realm, and the Mystic Force Rangers lost their powers. We know humans and magic can unite and create magic. I have no idea if these weapons and morphers were duplicates, or someone found the Ranger keys from Super Mega Force and managed to turn them into the past weapons and morphers. Not once did Commander Shaw say anything regarding the vault, though Dr. K's appearance does sort of give me an idea she knew of Grid Battle Force, possibly giving the cell shift morphers for safekeeping we saw in the flashback of Nate as a kid tampered with Scott's morphers. I was always under the impression, based off of just Beast Morphers alone, the connection to Dr. K and the ability to go ahead and open up portals to like different dimensions and stuff. Seeing that being made aware to us in Beast Morphers, it feels very much to me like somebody discovered Grid Battle Force as a home, and anointed it sort of as the safekeeping universe where you keep all that stuff, hidden and away. It for me, in my head, my own head canon, by opening these dimensions or having these abilities to communicate with other people across different galaxies and universes and stuff, it allows them to maybe reach out to other past Ranger teams, make connections, and again, maybe make the Grid Battle Force Vault more like the hub where past Rangers come and drop off all their stuff. That's kind of what I felt was teased and hinted at, but not necessarily ever outright said. So that's how I would kind of read it. Adrian, what's up, Adrian? If the legacy seasons of Power Rangers, such as Time Force and Wild Force, were written in modern day, either for Neo Saban, Arrow, or Hasbro, do you think it wouldn't be as huge as it was in 2001? If Hasbro did Time Force and Wild Force today, it probably would be. Although I would say, maybe not. It might be close. It might be close. Wild Force, it might be. Wild Force, maybe. Time Force, not quite sure. I felt like Time Force definitely dealt with some really heavy topics for sure. I mean, you could probably say the same thing about Wild Force too. But there is something really heavy about Time Force that I think, even during its time period, it was like the perfect levels of storytelling. Whereas now they are, I don't want to say they're dumbing down kids to a certain extent, but I feel like they're writing towards a different audience now, you know? Um, but I think Dino Fury has shown me that even in a modern era, I think if they were to handle something like Wild Force, I think they can make it super successful, just as successful as Dino Fury, if not what Wild Force was back in the day. Time Force, I think, might be a little bit more difficult. I think you could still make a good season. I just don't know if it would be as popular as it was back in the day, just because of who you're trying to appeal to now. Whereas I think Wild Force maybe fits that a little bit better. That's just me. That's just me. Um, Knowing how badly Saban and Nickelodeon controlled the franchise, don't you think these past seasons being done in 2010 and now wouldn't be do so well when it comes to writing, even team ups, especially when it comes to Power Rangers has been filming in New Zealand since Ninja Storm? It would have been very difficult to bring American actors back. Forever Red, being amazing as it was, wouldn't even exist due to Saban and Nickelodeon's creative control. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. But again, I would emphasize. I want to mention I picked Hasbro instead of Neo era Saban stuff for the modern take on these characters. I think if Hasbro's in control, we're having different conversations. AJ, what's up, AJ? What did you think of episode 9 of Dino Fury, the debut of Zato's Dino Knight armor? I thought it was effing awesome. I love that Tarek actually found the Morpher long ago and used it to create his Void Knight armor, which I agree helps connect back to the very first episode of Zato when he says, "How did you get that armor?" That's a good point. That's a good point. Maybe he's surprised as to how he got that armor. Maybe he recognized that armor maybe being accessible only through the Dino Night Morpher, so he makes that connection back in the day, or makes that connection back in episode 1. The scene earlier in the episode when Zato got really heated when he didn't believe that Tarek said that they would work together for after revealing that Void Knight and his wife. Kudos to the most of the Rangers able to speak during that revelation. Russell really showed his acting chops in this episode. I absolutely loved it. So cool that Javi was the one who backed Zato up when he told him to cool off. That ending, though, when Void Queen shows up and teleports Tarek with her, just as Tarek was about to tell the Rangers everything. I quote, "Rangers, there's so much to tell you." Yeah, there's so much, and I hope we get some sort of backstory. Who knows? Maybe that's where I'm telling you, a lot of these reveals I think are going to come with this Void Knight story. Zato's Battleizer was absolutely sick. Incredible blend of Sentai and brand new footage when it came to the sequence of the Battleizer. Hands down, my favorite Battleizer introduction in years. I cannot wait for you to see what happens in to Tarek for the remainder of the first half of season 2. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be very Tarek heavy and centric. He gives it a 100 out of 100. Jessica Friedman, which Power Ranger team is getting the next Boom Studios comic book series? Mm, I'm thinking this might be In Space. Maybe Zeo or In Space. I think with them introducing like characters like Andros, Astronema, and Ecliptor as of recent, maybe the In Space team. Maybe. Good old Datilla. What's up, Datilla? Appreciate you coming through. Hey, Adam, look at the past seasons. Why do you think there's always a girly girl and a tomboy dynamic? Do you think that they had to do with Sentai footage? Also, I noticed that throughout the various seasons of Power Rangers, the guys and girls who are perceived to be attractive wear revealing clothes. A good example is Maya and Kendra from Lost Galaxy. Maya wore revealing outfit while Kendrick's was stuck in her uniform. Yeah, yeah. Maybe a midriff shows, maybe no sleeves, expose those arms a little bit longer, a little bit more. Maybe rocking shorts a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So they definitely sexualize the more attractive one a little bit more and kind of push, for the nerdy or tomboyish one, definitely put them in full on garb. You know what I'm saying? It definitely has happened before for sure. Um, but it feels like it's changing for sure. I mean, I guess so to a certain extent. I feel like we've probably even seen Amelia um in situations like that this year too. Um, But yeah, I think it's the idea of, I don't know if it's Sentai that created that or if it's more or less Power Rangers added the girly girl and tomboyish to really add a sense of, you don't have to be girly girly, you know what I mean? Just to open up the wide ranging of female characters, at least to expand upon a little bit more. Giuseppe, what's up, Giuseppe? I don't know if I've heard from you before, but I appreciate you coming through. He says, "Hello, I'm Giuseppe. I am based in Italy." Look at that. If I knew how to say hello in Italian, I would say it. Hope you don't mind me stopping by and asking a question about Power Rangers. I come from your recent videos of Japanese Power Rangers series, Don Brothers. Well, thank you very much for certainly coming through. I'm telling you, man, we've been getting a ton of views on our Don Brothers stuff, anywhere between 400 to 500 views a week, which I think is like 3 times the amount that we were getting from Zenkaiser. So it definitely has brought in a new base of fans for sure. So I appreciate you coming through, Giuseppe. What do fans in Japan think of the Western exclusive Rangers? I don't know. I don't know. Like the Spirit Rangers from Jungle Fury, Titanium Rangers, Lord Tommy or Lord Draken, maybe, or the role playing Power Ranger team on YouTube, Hyperforce. Would you like these people added to the original Japanese cast or have a storyline in Shattered Grid? If so, if yes, how would they work? Well, Hyperforce, I think, is in Shattered Grid. Is Hyperforce in the Shattered Grid storyline? Something tells me that they are. I know Beast Morphers was in there even before Beast Morphers aired. The Beast Morphers team was in Shattered Grid, or maybe Hyperforce popped up in Necessary Evil storyline. I have seen some of them pop up for sure, comic book wise, or been in there. As far as like Spirit Rangers, Titanium Rangers, Lord Draken, how do fans in Japan think of the Western exclusive Rangers? I don't know. I don't really know anybody in Japan. My brother's in Japan. Maybe I can ask him. Like, hey, bro, find some Power Ranger fans in Japan and see what they think. That's a good question. Would I like these people to be added to the original Japanese cast? No, I like the idea of us having exclusive things for ourselves. Super Sentai makes a ton of exclusive things for them that don't necessarily get adapted here or really difficult to adapt here. So I very much would rather us keep them here for ourselves. But thank you for your questions, man. I appreciate it. Roberto Buena. What's up, Roberto? Good to see you, man. Last night, I watched a few old episodes of MMPR Season 2, and I just noticed in White Light that when Tommy became the White Ranger or took his helmet off, no one caught Kimberly, and she fell hard to the tile floor. Ouch. I do remember that. She fainted. That's right. Being so surprised that Tommy came back. He definitely kept that a secret, even to her. It was a great moment, man. It was a great moment. What are your Sentai hot takes? What are hot takes exactly? Like opinions that are what are there are many hot takes about a movie about what a movie gets wrong and gets right as soon as you answer. Okay. Oh, quickly produced, strongly worded, often deliberately provocative or sensational opinion or reaction. Um God, you want a Sentai hot take? I think they need to become more sensitive to inclusion and diversity for sure. Not even inclusivity and diversity, but like stereotypes, I guess I should say. You know, I think sometimes Sentai, uh, maybe some stereotypes, maybe some leniency with things that they're allowed to kind of get away with, maybe, you know. Um for me, and it may not even just be Super Sentai, it might just be tokusatsu and just Japanese culture in general. Things that I've kind of learned and discovered over the past couple years watching and being a tokusatsu fan of things that have kind of rubbed me incorrectly. So maybe it's unfair to as a hot take when it comes to Super Sentai, but I do think that they probably could work on some inclusivity a little bit more, some diversity a little bit more, some open-mindedness, some attention to detail when it comes to stereotypes, um, things like that. I don't think they're sensitive enough at times. Not trying to get Super Sentai to become woke all of a sudden, but like when I see a team of just one female, I'm like, come on, guys, like what are we doing here? When I start hearing stuff on sets about allegations of sexual harassment, um, voice actors coming in that have had blackface, stereotypical racist acts and has never apologized for it or been held accountable for stuff, and they sweep it underground and under the rug and don't address it type of thing. I feel like tokusatsu in general, whether that be Kamen Rider or Super Sentai, is maybe a little bit too comfortable. um and so yeah, I would if I had a hot take, do better. Do better for society in that sense. Um Johnny Marrero. Aside from Netflix, do you think we will see new Power Ranger projects from Paramount Plus as well? It's interesting. I feel like when we first got the news of E1 and Hasbro acquiring Power Rangers, one of the things that I remember reading was that they wanted to make sure that when it comes to their portfolio of content they're creating, right, that risk management. And one of the things that they mentioned was to not place all of their eggs in one basket, you know, diversify. Maybe some content on this streaming service, maybe some content on that streaming service. I honestly thought that that's what they were going to do with Power Rangers, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It feels very much like Netflix is now the home for Power Ranger content going forward, whether that be films, television series, animation, content. I mean, who knows? Maybe the animation might go somewhere else. And I say that just because Netflix did mention the idea recently in a report that they were going to cut back their animation division, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that means totally or some. I mean, you've already paid for the cinematic universe Power Ranger deal, so maybe the animation is still on the table. But if animation is not on the table for Netflix anymore, if I had to assume anything being moved anywhere else, maybe the animation. But other than that, it feels very much like they're putting all their eggs in one basket for Netflix. It does worry me some because I do wonder, like, if something doesn't go well successfully, does that mean the remainder of your cinematic universe falls? I've seen examples of Netflix to show that that's not the case with this Millar world that they have. I think it was Jupiter Ascending or Jupiter Rising or something like that was a live action series they did. It bombed and it was canceled after one season. But the fact that it was attached to a bigger cinematic universe that Netflix was investing in, the Super Crooks animated series, which was connected overall to the bigger Millar world, still aired, still came out. I don't know if it plans on getting a second season or not, but they still continued along with their plans. So, maybe Power Rangers is in safe hands at this point, but we'll have to see how it turns out. But I do think majority of it will be on Netflix. I don't think any others projects will be moved anywhere else. But if I had to guess, and just an assumption on my part and speculation, maybe animation to another streaming service. Would you rather see MMPR movie move to theaters or Netflix, Paramount? No, stay on streaming. Stay on Netflix. I don't know why you keep putting in Paramount Plus. I don't know. Are you a subscriber to Paramount Plus? You got stock in Paramount Plus? Do you like you just want to see Power Ranger content on Paramount Plus? I mean, I know they've worked before in the past, right? When it comes to the movies and things like that. Also, Paramount, Nickelodeon being a part of Paramount, if I'm not mistaken. So I get it. But make no mistake, the Power Ranger movie is on Netflix. The Slash Paramount Plus, that's not happening. Power Rangers movie is on Netflix as of right now. Um, what we've heard, again, no, we have it hasn't been confirmed, but what we've heard is that the new CEO would like the movie to be in theaters. You already have a deal with Netflix for the movie to be on Netflix. Could they still put it in theaters? Absolutely. I hope it's both and not either or. If it's either or, I'm concerned about it if it goes in the theaters. If it's both, then I think that's just extra money in their pocket because Netflix, I think, technically has already paid for this movie to be made. So I think we should be good there. So I would rather see it. Look, I love the movie theaters. I do. So do I want to see it on the big screen? Absolutely. But I don't want to see it on the big screen if I mean, I'll still see it on the big screen, but I don't want it to be the only place that it's available to be seen. If a Power Rangers sitcom does happen one day, what would you like to see happen? He says one day for Paramount Plus. You really want Paramount Plus to have some Power Ranger content? Do you not own Netflix or do you just love Paramount Plus? I'm really curious, Johnny. Um, if a Power Rangers sitcom does happen one day for Paramount Plus, what would you like to see happen? A sitcom, huh? Give me a Power Rangers sitcom involving the parents. Uh, I want to see a sitcom with the parents asking, "Where the hell are my kids at?" half the time. The parents of a Power Ranger. I would love to see that. Let's see what else we got. L'Oreal, what's up, L'Oreal? Once again, Power Rangers Dino Fury does not disappoint. Zeta was on his game today, wasn't he? Absolutely. I mean, this was the best Russell Curry I have ever seen this season. I mean, he just brought it, honestly. His face to face with Void Knight, demorphed, mind you, all up in his face, ready to give him to spill the beans and the truth as to are you fucking with me right now? Or are you really on our side, Void Knight? I need to know. I love Russell Curry this week, man. Incredible. Both Javi and Zato had their points about Void Knight, but if that doesn't show you, you gotta trust people sometimes. Nothing does. Absolutely, man. Sometimes you gotta trust people. Two Dino keys at once. Geez, oh Jody, that's so freaking cool. Oh, that's right, because the Dino Morphine, the Dino armor or the Dino Knight Morpher does have a connection for two Dino keys because he used the Gravy and the Freeze in his attack in here. I'm glad I completely forgot about that. I'm glad you brought that up. Since Void Knight armor isn't cursed like in Strongest Battle, maybe it can be remade by lady who wanted to revive Dai Satin, aka Lokar the Terrible. Possible. This just came to me. There are certain crystals that the Reader Girl needed to find or revive Lokar. Oh, from the Strongest Battle. So she created the Strongest Battle to lure in all the Power Rangers and the Galactic Council to find them. Absolutely. I loved it. What else we got? Doomsday. How glad, yes, pun intended, are you that Dino Fury won a media award? I felt like it was very well deserved. Again, I feel like even I was able to recognize the impact that it had in regards to just how well it was written, performed. And again, it's like every Izzy and Fern episode is really like that. It does make me wonder if they literally brought in the Maya Thompson writer specifically for that reason. Like, hey, maybe Simon Bennett and the writers, don't necessarily identify with what a relationship like that is quite like. So in order to make it as accurate as you possibly can, maybe you get somebody like a Maya Thompson and a Guy Langford to go ahead and put the pieces in place to tell the story properly, where people will be easily acceptable of it. You know what I mean? A very easier to swallow and feel more comfortable with, sort of thing, right? So I do want to give kudos to Simon Bennett and the writer team for maybe even recognizing that and being aware of it. The idea that, and again, I don't know Maya Thompson's, how she refers to herself as, or whatever the case may be, but it feels very much like, hey, if you don't know a perspective of this individual or this group of people, maybe bring somebody in to definitely go ahead and help create the environment in the world that you want to represent this couple in. And I think they've done a fantastic job. And so very well deserved. Very well deserved. Abersay, what's up, Abersay? Sorry for asking this, but do you know how the random oh, excuse me. Sorry for asking this, but do you know how the Ranger fandom on social media has been very toxic? What do you think when people claiming they're not hypocrites, but their posts or tweets clearly say they are? How do you avoid people who act like jerks, even with the NFT stuff? I ignore it. I do my best to truly ignore it. I don't know ignore it all the time. Sometimes it's harder than others. But I think, ignoring it allows them to not get the fuel that they need to continue trolling and or treating people the way that they do or being as toxic. I think the moment that you start liking messages and retweeting that type of stuff, it just gives them energy and gives them an idea that they can continue to just say the craziest shit that they have been all this time. So I've just avoided this stuff now. I just if I see it, I don't give it the energy. And I think that's something that we certainly all need to do from time to time because it can be overwhelming, honestly. Um, and what do I think when people claim they're not hypocrites, but their posts or tweets clearly say that they are? I would say maybe I probably wouldn't get into it because I'm not trying to carry that negative energy, but sometimes people need to be held accountable. If they don't realize what they're saying is hypocritical, maybe show them a past tweet of theirs in which, like, hey, well, you just said this here, but yet here you're saying this. Can people change their mind? Absolutely. Sometimes when we have new evidence in front of us, we have a new perspective and we see things a little bit differently. So our minds and opinions can definitely change over time for sure. But if it's something that's pretty recent and you continue to see people being really hypocritical about it, and especially based off of their past posts, then maybe hold them accountable and be like, well, you said this also, bro. You remember that time? You might have forgotten, or maybe you want to, you know, just forget, but you put that out there in the world, sort of thing. So sometimes you have to hold people accountable for the stupid shit that they say. And sometimes I just try to ignore it, especially if I'm in a good mood and I just do not want to go down that negative, negative path, And then last but not least, I suck my balls. He says, if Hasbro were to drop Power Rangers, who would you want to pick up the rights, even if the new reboot world works? Pick up the rights? Honestly, oh, man. If Hasbro dropped Power Rangers, who would I want to see pick up the rights? Honestly, it's a part of me that wants to say Disney again. And I know some people will probably roll their eyes, but Disney gave us some really great seasons too. I wouldn't mind Disney picking up Power Rangers again. Honestly, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't want Warner Brothers. They're too much in a. They're doing so much right now with their merger. It's really throwing off a lot of stuff and really cleaning house right now. Maybe not even Warner Brothers. Universal, I don't feel like is in a good position at all. Yeah, man. I'll probably go with Disney again. And if not Disney, you know what? Amazon. I wouldn't mind Amazon. Let's see what Jeff Bezos and his Amazon team can do. That would probably be my next two choices. Amazon and Disney again. But thank you very much, guys, for everybody's questions in regards to it. I think I've caught up with everybody's questions. Oh, I will get this last one though. Ionis, this was back from April 24th. It was so long. When a new Ranger team has connection to a previous season, just to clarify from last week, what do you think if a new season of Power Rangers were to use a command center or even a Megazord that was used in the previous season that wasn't destroyed? Lost Galaxy was an excellent example of when the Rangers discovered the Astro megaship that was converted into a museum after the finale of Power Rangers in Space. This allowed the Galaxy Rangers to have a secret base for them to regroup and keep their identities from the colony. Alpha got to work with another team of Rangers since Turbo. This even allowed the Space Rangers during the To the 10th Power and Power of Pink team up to use the Astro Megazord in brand new fight footage with the Galaxy Megazord. Bonus points: the Space Rangers left their morphers on this ship hidden in the secret vault when they all retired from being Rangers. We saw Andros go into the vault and grab his morpher. Then later, the other four got theirs. For years, I've wondered why the Galaxy Rangers never realized, nor Alpha told them that they could use the Astro Megazord if they needed to, even though the space shuttle, which was the head of the Megazord, was kept inside anyways. My main point: do you wish previous seasons like Disney, Neo Saban, or even Hasbro revisited old command centers or Zords that were still around just to have the connection to what came before? I would be definitely up for that. I do like how that was certainly handled. So I definitely would be up for that, Ionis. That's a good question. Thank you very much, man. All right, guys. I think other than that, that will in fact wrap it up here for us here at A Plus More Phenomenal today, guys. So thank you very much for certainly coming through. Let's see here. Real quick, Jinsaku actually joined us. What's up, Jinsaku? Good to certainly see you in here. He says, Jinsaku, talking about the idea of Netflix movie, the Power Rangers movie maybe being released in theaters. Jinsaku says probably for like 2 weeks in theaters. He says Army of the Dead and Don't Look Up, which were both Netflix movies, was in theaters for 1 week before they hit Netflix and was exclusively to Cinemark and no other theater. So I see Power Rangers doing the same thing. That should be interesting then to see if that comes to fruition. What else are you guys saying in here? Oh, Adam Perea, I'm assuming maybe going back to the Trini character, saying that she's Latin. Okay, interesting. Interesting. She's a Latina, huh? Is it Audrey? Um, no, because I think that would have been just as stereotypical. The Latin girl as the Yellow Ranger. I mean, come on, guys. Come on, guys. Um, yeah, so interesting. Tarek says, you have dogs and a cat? Wow, they must really get along. We got one cat, yeah, and like 6 dogs. And they do. They actually all do get along pretty well. Pretty well. Emmanuel, what's up, Emmanuel? Says, so this episode was bomb for you, Adam? Absolutely, man. I give it an A for sure. Absolutely love this episode. A minus is definitely there, but I was a big fan of this week's episode for sure. John says, please do timestamps. Always. It's just a matter of how quickly I can get the timestamps up, but the timestamps will be up there today. Don't worry. Johnny says, hey, Adam, did you ever think that Jen from Time Force was always evil through and through and Rancic was somewhat good despite him being a villain because Jen was so angry and took her frustration out west? I get her frustration and her anger, so I wouldn't consider her evil through and through. I think there's a very good reasoning for the way that she certainly holds herself. So I kind of appreciated that aspect of Jen. John says, I wonder if John Entwistle's universe will have a morphing grid or something else. I can see a morphing grid still taking place. I can still see a morphing grid being accompanied. How they associate it with it, though, that I'm not sure. Mackenzie, can we get a battleizer in Hasbro universe where the Red Ranger or Ant Ranger gets their battleizer by ripping their shirts off? Oh no. You want another Leo moment, huh? The morphing grid says you are worthy of a battleizer for ripping because you are ripped. Yeah, maybe definitely that would definitely be Leo would probably at that point have all the the battleizers for sure. But you know who would have all the battleizers now though? Probably Jasmeet Badawalia. Give Ravi all the battleizers now based off of how swole that man is. Michael Rhymes, just wondering, when you do Hero Report, when you pull the live questions, do all of you see them automatically on your screens? No, it's just through my email account, so I'm the one that pulls up the questions. All right, guys. I think that's probably going to be it for me today. All right, guys. Yeah, that's gonna do it for me here. All right, man. Other than that, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for us here today. We will, in fact, be back next week for another episode of A Plus More Phenomenal. If anything, we do have another Don Brothers review headed your way later on this week, so certainly go ahead and look out for that. Also, remember, guys, if you have not subscribed to our other YouTube channel, A Plus Hero Report, please go ahead and do yourselves a favor. There is a link in the description box below. If you would like to go ahead and continue to hear my thoughts on not only Power Rangers, but also Marvel, DC, and maybe movies and television that you guys are definitely big fans of, I would definitely recommend subscribing over there, as we only have 2 more weeks of A Plus More Phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately. Also, if you want to go ahead and continue to follow along with us and communicate with us outside of our YouTube page, that's what our Discord forum community is for. You can definitely go ahead and continue to have discussions with us. And we've got a plethora of topics over there for you guys to definitely discuss as well. There is a link in the description box below for that also. But other than that, guys, that's going to do it for me here today. We certainly will be back later on this week. So in the meantime, as always, do me a big favor. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And may the power protect you. I'll talk to you guys later. And happy Mother's Day. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.